Good evening. Sacramento City Council will please come to order. Would the clerk please call the roll to establish a quorum?
Thank you. Councilmember Ashby. Here. Councilmember Warren. Here. Councilmember Harris. Here. Vice Mayor Hansen. Here. Councilmember Carr. Here. Councilmember Jennings. Here. Councilmember Guerra. Here. Councilmember Chenier. And Mayor Steinberg.
I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to ask Ms. Flossie Crump and Ms. Felicia Allen if you would give us the honor of coming forward and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will be seeing you shortly. Well, good evening to everyone. I know we have one report out of the closed session, which I'm going to take the privilege of announcing tonight. The City Council earlier this afternoon, with a unanimous vote, has appointed Susanna Alcala-Wood as our next city attorney. She'll be starting, let's give her a big hand. Susanna is here with us. Are you, there you are. Please come on forward. And I want to say a few words here. Before we recognize our new city attorney and introduce her, I want to make a special and a personal thank you on behalf of the council to our interim city attorney, Matt Ruyek. Matt is an outstanding attorney, did an outstanding job as interim city attorney, and proved through the process, this selection process, to be a person of the highest integrity and highest character. And I know all of us thought highly of you going in and think even more highly of you now. And you are an essential part not only of the city attorney's office, but your problem-solving abilities, your intellect, your love for the city. You're a crucial part of the city. And I just want to recognize your service, which doesn't end tonight, because our next city attorney, Susanna Alcala-Wood, begins on March the 19th. And I want to welcome you. You wowed this city council with your background, with your intellect, with your problem-solving ability, and with your vision for this city. Susanna is not new to the city of Sacramento. She was a deputy city attorney during the Sam Jackson era, or Sam wore cowboy hats everywhere. Did he always wear cowboy hats? I correct the record.
Gave salsa dance classes.
Yeah. And Susanna has had a great career, both as city attorney for the city of Modesto and the chief assistant city attorney for the city of Stockton for the past number of years. And this, I know, has been a dream of yours. And we could not be prouder than to welcome you back to the city where you started, to take the top spot and to use all you know and have learned over the years to the benefit of this changing and growing city. And so we're all going to get to know each other very, very well, but it's a very exciting night for us. And, you know, to hire a highly qualified woman the same night we are tackling the issue of gender equity and diversity is, you know, is noteworthy, I know, to all of us, because you find somebody this good and you get a chance to to provide this opportunity. It's really a good moment.
Thank you, Mayor.
We welcome you.
Thank you so much.
Let's please, long speech.
Okay.
Just keep it short.
And I hope never to have to say anything else in this chambers again. Thank you so much. If you can't see it on my face, I'm just beyond excited. Thank you for letting me come back to work for this city. It's like what I've been trying to do for like the last 11 years, come back here. There's just something about Sacramento that is very exciting to plug back into. I love this office. I love, Matt's been amazing throughout this process, as has Sandra and all the other attorneys in the office. This is a fantastic city attorney's office. I'm so happy to be coming back to work with all of them. And thank you. It's not lost on me the changes that Sacramento is making too, the things you're studying right now. I was watching you on the news this morning and I'm thinking, yeah, I get to be part of that now. So thank you so much, and I'm really excited for March 19th.
You have a couple council members who want to weigh in here. Councilmember Ashby.
Yes, I just want to welcome you to the team and say just a couple quick words about you, Susanna. First of all, the thing that stood out to me so much about you, you just said it. There's just something about Sacramento. Your love for this city just absolutely shines. It radiates out of you. And you are smart and strong and brave, and you showed that in this rigorous process that we put you through. And knowing that package that you're bringing to us as this just phenomenal Latina, I cannot wait for you to get out into our communities and tell your beautiful story of triumph and success. It is going to resonate with little girls across Sacramento, and I can't wait to watch it happen, and I'm so excited that you're here, and I feel so fortunate that we have Matt to help you come back in and adjust. He is just a brilliant lawyer that we all trust so much, and what a dynamic team Sacramento has now. We're formidable. So thank you for joining us. We're really excited.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you, Councilmember Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Susanna, I want to say that, this is a big day, and it was a big decision for us. And, the fact that this council was unanimous in its selection, I think is a testament to you, but also to the other candidates that we viewed very highly, which is both Matt and Sandra. And the fact that they're still here in the city means that, I think our city attorney staff has gone up a notch. And to both Matt and Sandra, I want to thank all of, the applicants and participants in the process. And also, I'd like to just welcome you back home.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to working with you, and anything that our office or the rest of us, I'm sure, can do to help make the transition smoother. Please count on us to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say a couple things, and I think, Susanna, you epitomize a lot of what the city is about, a community that relies on each other but looks after each other, and where we come back, this whole idea of Lady Bird, where people come up here, they go, and then they come back and they bring the skills and knowledge of the places that they've gone to make our community better. That's exactly what is happening. Is we've heard from a lot of your fans, including in our own city attorney's office. They've talked about that very thing, about how excited they are to have you back with us. And I have to say, too, to add to the mayor and my other colleagues' comments, Mr. Uriak, you've done a phenomenal job as interim city attorney. You've been responsive. You've been extremely helpful, I know, to my office and to the things that we've been working on as a council. And I think you deserve our utmost gratitude for your service. But your continued service, especially as we go forward to continue to build the best city attorney's office of any city in the state. And I believe that's what we're doing today.
Very good. We got two more.
Okay.
Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All I have to say is that the city of Sacramento is fortunate to have recruited such great talent here. And the fact is that you showed that you love Sacramento. You were here before. You wanted to come back, I think the biggest part here is how you embody the American dream and your story just resonates so much to me personally. The last thing I got to just say is un gran bienvenido, Sacramento.
Oh,
Welcome.
muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
And last but not least, Councilmember Harris.
Susanna, that's me. You know what I found appealing about your entreaty to us to become city attorney is your connection to the community. And I think that will be very valuable to us to have the leader of our city attorney's office really connect with our constituents. So I look forward to that. You know, I enjoyed your story about your activities in the past, and I hope you'll carry on with that tradition, because we really need to have a deeper connection with our citizens, and I think that you will embody that.
Thank you so much.
So welcome you here, and let's get to work.
Very good. Thank
Okay, I want to thank you very much. Welcome. We'll we will see you 8 a.m. March 19th. Okay. I want to do the presentations here before we do public testimony items not on the agenda here. We asked two esteemed members of our community to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance here. And I'd like to bring them up again. It's Flossie Crump and it's Felicia Allen. I'm going to turn over the mic to Councilmember Ashby in just a sec, if I just might make just a preliminary comment. It's not a big deal. You know, I haven't been feeling too well the last couple weeks, but I only mentioned that because I got out of bed last Tuesday. Was it last Tuesday? Maybe it was last Thursday. Last Thursday, because there was no way I was missing the dedication of the police headquarters atrium in honor of Flossie Crump and Felicia Allen, the first two women hired as police officers in the city of Sacramento, and two women of color. And the work that they did in their story, which is at once heroic and hopeful, but also harrowing, and a reminder of the times we lived in and how much progress we've made, how much progress we still have to go. That story is inspiring. And I want to thank Chief Hahn for your vision in bringing this recommendation forward, because this was really a proud afternoon and proud day for the city of Sacramento. And as you reminded us, anybody who ever walks in the Hall of Justice every single day is going to be reminded of your story and your history. And here you are to celebrate with us. And we wanted to recognize you tonight as a city council, as the community did last week, because groundbreakers in our midst. Councilmember Ashby?
Thanks, Mayor. And he gave you the keys to the city at that event too, didn't he?
Yes, right.
Yeah. So now they can get in wherever they want to be.
It works for everything.
Every door we
building.
have. I want to say a little bit about you two, and then I want to just take a moment of personal privilege to talk about what your story means to me. But I think it's important to note that there were women that worked in the police department before these two ladies got there, but they weren't patrol officers. They hadn't hired any patrol officers. They just gave women other jobs. And these two ladies are the first two women, just the first two women straight out, that worked on patrol in the city of Sacramento, and that was in 1974 that they were in the academy. I think it's so impressive, and one of the things about their story that means a lot to me personally, and I think to all of us, and there are lots of young women here tonight who are coming to advocate and talk about the diversity and equity audit that's on this agenda later. And they're talking about pathways and how you get it done. And one of you shared the fact that you two were the first, and then it took a little while. It took a little while, wasn't it? Almost 10 years, right? Before there were a full 10 women actually on the force. And I think that's important for us to remember. Even now, when we're looking for change and we're pushing and pulling and struggling and wanting to bring more women on board and get them in, it takes a little bit of time. and that really resonated with me. So these two ladies, first of all, as the mayor said, from now until eternity, when people walk into the police and fire headquarters at our public safety atrium, they will see beautiful painting done by Aliyah Siddiqui. It's amazing. She painted the likeness of these two beautifully, and that hangs right in the entryway and then lets you know their story and that the space that you're in there is dedicated to these two women pioneers. Both Flossie and Felicia graduated from the Academy on December 13th, 1974, and they were the first two women to ever work as patrol officers. Flossie worked in various assignments such as patrol, sex assaults, robbery, recruiting, academy, and homicide for a total of 25 years. Felicia worked in patrol, prevention programs, schools programs, recruiting, community relations, vice, narcotics for a total of 16 years. Did I get those all right, ladies?
Close enough.
All right, good. I think what's interesting about them, too, is they shared a little bit of this story, though to their credit, they are both just eternally optimistic. They dealt with a lot of prejudice and a lot of unwillingness to accept change, ironically not from the community, but from within their own department. But these two women refuse to focus on that. They want to focus on the men in the department who encouraged them, who lifted them up, who on days when others were hard on them came by and encouraged them or stood up for them behind closed doors. And I think, for me, listening to you guys speak that day was a little bit hard because I didn't want to relate to your story. I don't want to relate. That was 1974. I want those to be days of gone and be able to tell you we've come so far that that's not the case anymore and all things are equal and you don't need these ally men to stand up for you in closed rooms. But it isn't true. We still have that in some places. And so those relationships, those allies, those men like the men on this dais who look at women like us and say, I'm going to help her. I'm going to help her do better. And it's worth noting, it was a man in the police department that recruited both of them for these spots. So I think that's important, an important note to your story. And I am just so honored today to give you guys these two resolutions. I will not read them through entirely because they repeat much of what we've already said. But I do want people in Sacramento to know that these two ladies, there is a beautiful film that was put together for them. If you haven't seen it, ask one of us. I think most of us have shared it on social media. Sacramento Police Department has shared it. I still call him Captain. Chief Hahn has shared it widely and broadly, and he's so proud. I know, it's old habits. I never changed his name in my phone from Captain to Chief, so I still just call him Captain. It's my way of keeping him humble. Anyway, so these two ladies have been acknowledged and recognized by U.S. Senator Kamala Harris. They will spend time at the Capitol on the Senate floor with your successor, Senator Pan. There is a lot happening with these ladies that people just want to recognize and let them know how appreciated and special they are. And I would, rather than read these, either give you guys time if you want to say a couple of words or ask the chief if he wants to come up and say a couple words about you. Give you that opportunity.
We are humbled and actually overwhelmed by all the public interest and support. Thank you. Thank you to the City of Sacramento. We served it with honor, respect, and we love the city. So it was not a no-brainer for us to commit ourselves to the task. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Humble too.
And with me, I am extremely honored. I feel like I'm dreaming and that I'm going to wake up from this dream and I'll probably scream because if it's not true. But I am so honored. Mayor, I have to tell you that my 6-year-old granddaughter, when I was showing her the key to the city, she wanted to know why I need a key to get in. So I'm still trying to explain that one to her.
It's a very good question, actually. Yeah.
But again, as I said, I am so honored to have served for 25 years with the Sacramento Police Department, and I am so grateful for Chief Hahn and for the City Council and everybody that have supported us and brought this recognition forward. it kind of cemented that our job, our efforts, our challenges, the things that we went through were not in vain. And I am so looking forward to where the police department will be going in the future, and also where the city of Sacramento will be going in the future. So again, from the bottom of my heart,
And mine.
I thank you, Felicia, from the bottom of our hearts. We thank you, and we just so appreciate what you guys are doing. And we promise we will do our best to live up to the honor that you guys have bestowed upon us.
We have no doubt. We have no
So
doubt.
proud of them. I should mention too, Mayor, both managed this job of being first patrol officers while also being moms.
Yeah.
So great work-life balance, and I got to meet a couple of kids, and boy, are they amazing kids. So wonderful. I think we should all go down and take a
I'll
picture.
go down
of them,
and take a
And we
picture.
should have the chief come on up too.
Perfect, okay.
Dad, hey, you know what though? I was thinking about, you know, I get for the chief and the staff. I was thinking. Thank you.
Why don't we come this way?
Oh, this is Rossi on it. You're welcome. It's my pleasure, my honor. Thank you.
All right, everybody, if we can have your attention, let's count 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Guy, is he smiling? He must be cool.
I gotta show you. You want to hear it?
I know.
Now he's making noises.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Great way to start the meeting here. We do have one other resolution around the very important issue of gender equity, recognizing the future here. Young lady, and I'm going to turn it over, named Rylan Ramos, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Ashby. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. This is young Ryland Ramos. Ryland, do you want to come up with your dad there? And I don't know, Kevin, where are you at? Can you put the thing there on the screen? So Ryland is 9 years old. He is a third grader in my district. It's okay, the mayor has the flu, don't worry about that.
Okay.
But can you scoot it down a little bit? Kevin was...
Young man, Rylan. There we go.
Yep, there you go,
Okay.
perfect. So Ryland is an amazing young man. He is a third grader. Tonight on the council agenda, we're going to talk about gender and ethnic diversity. And in talking about that, we will discuss bias, implicit bias. And as a leader in this area, people ask me what implicit bias means all the time. I have never run across a better example than this. And so Molly, who is my friend and related to Ryland, tagged me in a social media post with this test that Ryland took in his third grade English class. And I was so impressed with him that I wanted to meet him. So I went to his karate class and I met him and watched him and talked to him afterwards about this test. And then I just wanted people to know this story, and I wanted people to understand this issue of implicit bias. It's not an issue of politics or party. It's really just about people and how we treat each other and what our learned behaviors lead us to in the future. So Ryland took a test. This test is on pronouns. So you are, as you can see in the second instruction there, he was instructed to choose the correct pronoun to match the subject antecedent in the sentence. So first he has to identify the subject, and then he has to choose the right pronoun. And the rule is that pronoun must match in number and gender, Mayor. It must match in number and gender. So if the subject is singular, then the pronoun must be singular, right, Ryland? And if the pronoun is a female, then the subject is a female, then the pronoun must be female as well. They have to match in both gender and number. So Ryland is a very good student, and he did well. But when he got to number 4, the sentence read, "The mayor did blank best to solve the traffic problem." And at this point, Ryland said to himself, "There's no evidence, Mayor, in the sentence as to the gender of the mayor. So his can't possibly be right because we don't know that this is a boy." So he chose their. And the teacher marked it wrong because obviously there is plural and mayor was singular in the sentence. But Ryland wrote a note back to his teacher, as you can see there, as any brilliant young third grader would do, and said, "I think this should include women." And I want Ryland to know. The budding politician that he is, he fought this battle with his teacher and won, proving that there was no evidence in the sentence as to gender, so he got credit for the question. But more importantly, he proved to the people of Sacramento that if a 9-year-old reading a test can identify implicit bias, so can we. And I agree with Ryland that it, meaning politics and life and leadership roles, should include women. And so Ryland, you are here today because I am oh so proud of you, as I know your parents and your community and your family and friends are too. And I don't think you know how unique and special and rare you are, and that adults would have just taken the test and marked his and moved on. But I really think this is important because he's only 9 years old. And in the next 2 years, just before he even gets to junior high, he and his classmates will learn about every president we've ever had, and they're all men. And then they'll go to the Capitol. They'll take the Capitol trip that every kid in this region takes. And they will walk through the Hall of Governors, and they will see that every governor has been a man. And if they're lucky, they'll get to sit down with maybe the 2 assembly members and senator from Sacramento. And guess what? They'll all 3 be men. And so they will be reinforced with the idea that leaders in elected office are men dozens of times before they ever even get to junior high. Why would we take a test and reinforce that thought when we could use it as an opportunity to talk about the possibilities? So Ryland, you are a special young man, and I'm very proud of you. And tonight you're going to get a resolution, just like Felicia and Flossie got, because we're very, very proud of you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. And it was really well said. I know Councilmember Hanson has a comment. I'd like to say something as well, but that was beautifully said and really sums it up. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Ryland. Finding this was a big deal. But one of the things that also is on here that I want to point out, and you didn't point this out to your teacher because I think you were being very polite, was the next one about the students and their teacher was very proud. It says her, but many of us also want to grow up to be teachers that are boys. And so I think that it presumes so much more than just whether a woman can be mayor. It presumes that women can only be teachers. Unlike Flossie and Felicia, who became police officers, it doesn't matter your gender. If you work hard enough and we knock down these invisible walls, anybody can be whatever they want. And that's something that I hope you share with your classmates.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen, sometimes it takes a young person to remind adults of how old we are. Yeah, that's one. But beyond that, of how important it is to simplify that which seems sometimes so complicated, right? We deal with all these personnel manuals and all the rules and all the laws, which are very, very important. But it really, as Councilmember Ashby points out, it starts with what's in our hearts and what's in our heads, and with being sensitive and being aware to things that may not even be intentional, but that affect people, that affect women in unfair ways. And that's exactly what you just did. In the most simple way, you pointed out just how easy it is to discriminate. And that's a huge, huge value. And I'm so glad that, Councilmember Ashby, you brought this forward here tonight to illustrate that as we debate the complex policies that we are going to over the next hours and weeks and months ahead, that let's remember that we will change our own gender equity challenges here in Sacramento if we have the heart and the will and the common sense to do what we know is the right thing. And that's what you showed us here. So I don't know what to say, except that's pretty cool. And 9 years old to be here and to be recognized in this way, but for the right reason. I'm very confident you're going to do really good things in your long life to come. So thank you. Now, Angelique, you want to? Yeah. Why don't we got former Vice Mayor Jennings who wants to speak? Go ahead.
So I think it's already been said as far as everything that you've done. I just want to thank you for your courage. I want to thank you for stepping up and stepping out. I want to thank you for wearing that incredibly good-looking suit and tie that you have on today. I thank you for being a leader among your peers, and I think you'll be a leader for the rest of your life. I just want to let you know how proud we all are of you. And I know you maybe are taking this in saying, man, I did something good and I didn't even know how good it was, right? But what you did is an example for a lot of kids to follow, and I hope that you'll continue to step up and step out. I hope you will continue to challenge our teaching. You know, even if it's a teacher who's in authority, I hope you will at least put it in front of them that this is what you think, and then have a dialogue with them so that they'll always know that you're thinking and that you're giving your thoughts first and foremost, and you're not afraid to say them in public. So I just want to thank you personally for your courage. It took a lot to do what you did, and you did a great job, and I'm proud of you.
So the microphone is yours. Amen.
I would just like to say thank you for my family members that came here to watch me.
Why don't you introduce them? If you want.
There's a lot. Maybe he could just
Oh,
have
there's a
them
lot.
stand up.
Maybe have your family members stand up. Would you please, all? Thank you. Oh, okay, you got a lot of members in the family here. Wonderful. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you for letting me come here, and I would like to say thank you. I honestly don't know what to say.
You know what? You said it already.
That's right.
Good, Rylan. Good job.
Okay, you said it. By the way, I just want to correct one thing. You said, thank you for allowing me to be here. You don't have to thank us. This is your place. City Hall. It's true.
Yep.
It's your place. Okay?
Just one last thing, Mayor. First of all, you can see why he's just right. Amazing kid. And did you see his little brother too? He's so cute. Look at his suit, Rick. Look at this. I mean, my goodness, right? So, Rylan's story went viral, and there are good things and bad things about going viral, and Mom and Dad learned some lessons too about what happens when a story goes viral. The good thing that happened is a hashtag called Be Like Ryland caught fire, and was one of the trending things on Twitter for a couple days there because of Ryland and the way that he views life and sees things and creates optimum circumstances for all. The bad thing that happened to Ryland's family is that there was a lot of negative feedback on social media, something that we are all quite accustomed to.
Interesting.
But you know, I thought it was really important to push through that and come here and recognize him and his great achievement. And we don't let people who can't see like Ryland change us from our end goal, which is to treat everyone as fairly as we can. So Ryland, good job, buddy. I would love for the whole council to come take a picture with
Yep, we'll do
Ryland.
it. Okay.
Why don't we have him sit here?
Oh, Ryland, come up here.
Yeah. Great idea.
Up in front, sure.
Yeah. If the family would like to come up front here, that would be great.
Come on over here.
Or not.
Rylands, folks, if you want to.
Sit in the mayor's
Sit in the
seat.
mayor's
Right
chair.
in the mayor's chair.
In the mayor's chair. It gets kind of
And
hot.
grab that gavel
Grab the
right
gavel.
there.
You
Wait,
can hold the gavel.
you can say if you want me to adjourn.
Oh, yeah.
Ryland, hold on. Here, stand up for a second. You okay now?
Hey, I need one of those.
Really?
How's that? And you gotta hold the gavel up
You
like
gotta pick
this.
it up.
Like this, in this hand, just like that. There you
You
go.
want to come up with him? You want to come up?
Dad? Get on in, Dad. Come on, Dad's got to get
Yeah, come up here, yes.
There we go.
Congratulations.
You guys face that way.
We love
Yeah,
our new
good.
mayor.
Go get it. Great. Perfect.
Come on in here.
Now it feels like Natomas. Good job, you guys.
Be up in there with your brother, okay?
Okay, so ready? Ready, Ryland? Big smile?
Hold that gavel
All right.
up. Hold that gavel.
Yeah. All right.
Good job, buddy.
What do you say, boy?
Good work, buddy.
We're going to fist bump. We're going to fist bump.
Congratulations.
Okay, great job, buddy. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to take a quick point of personal privilege. I'm sorry, Steve. You're run. Okay. I'm going to all the people in the audience here for the gender equity issue, I'm going to have to take a leave early tonight. Still trying to get better. But I just wanted to make a comment before the item is presented that I am fully committed to an aggressive set of actions. I know which we'll hear a lot of recommendations tonight. Aggressive set of actions to improve these numbers, and sooner rather than later. It's a core issue for the city. It's a core issue for me. We have to walk the walk here. And there are many reasons, but the numbers are very clear, especially when it comes to upper levels of employment and management, that the numbers don't reflect the gender diversity of our city. And we have a lot of work to do, and I'm going to, with Councilmember Ashby and all members of the City Council, I intend to be on the forefront here. I just wanted to let you know my commitment, okay? Thank you. I'm going to turn it over. What's that?
I got it. I got it.
Vice Mayor, go ahead. Well, it's the public comment for items not on the agenda. We'll just have Ms. Pepe begin.
Thank you. So I have 22 speakers for items not on the agenda. The first is Flora Gressel, then Haunani Henry, Elaine Jackson, then Nancy Kitts.
Wait a minute.
Did she say?
Good evening. We're here today as residents and friends of North Sacramento to share our concerns with you regarding the terribly precarious situation thousands of homeless individuals are currently facing in our city and the very real environmental threats that are happening along the Lower American River. The Lower American River is classified as a recreation river within the state and federal wild and scenic river systems. According to the Parkway Plan, this section of the river is the central focus of the Parkway, which provides enjoyment to residents and visitors of the Sacramento region. Sacramento Steps Forward, the lead agency of the Sacramento Continuum of Care, conducted the 2017 census of all individuals experiencing homelessness in the region. And according to this point-in-time count, the city and county has experienced an increase in the number of individuals and families confronting homelessness on a nightly basis. Their findings included 30% growth in nightly homeless individuals, 56% of homeless people are sleeping outdoors, 85% growth among homeless who are unsheltered and sleeping outdoors. Given these startling statistics, it's no wonder that an individual without permanent housing may choose to live on the streets, stay in a shelter, single-room occupancy facilities, abandoned buildings or vehicles, or camp in parks and other public lands. As a result, Sacramento's law enforcement and urban park and recreational agencies are finding themselves on the front lines of this issue because of the presence of homeless individuals on public parkland. Matters surrounding homelessness are complex, with solutions that require a holistic approach and collaboration between federal, state, and city agencies and nonprofit organizations. We want to share 3 short videos with you that were taken over the last few weeks. The first one looks at the area adjacent to Sacramento Steps Forward headquarters on Garden Highway. Wada Parkway is next, and then the area north of Camp Pollock. All these areas are entirely publicly accessible. These videos are hard to watch, so we thank you in advance for your attention.
Just 1 second, Madam Clerk, before we go to the videos, I believe we had 5 people sign up on this. Six total? Okay. So we'll try to go through each person. Our order is 2 minutes a person, so why don't you call the next person? We'll play the video with that person, okay? Who's the next person?
Next speaker is Haunani Henry, and then Elaine Jackson.
So, and if you want to play the video, yeah.
While they're playing the video.
Welcome, Haunani. Can we turn down the volume? You turn down the volume. Video.
Yeah, they'll get it in a minute.
Dimming the lights. Ms. Henry, did you have anything you want to say in your last seconds? No? Okay. Ms. Jackson, you're up next. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, I just wanted to say none of these pictures cross over, so each was a different frame of an area. And also, I'd like to say that I hope everybody was watching this on the council, all the pictures. Thank you.
Just so you know, our video monitors down here show us what's playing on the screen. So this is Miss Kitts.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Kitts, did you want to add anything to the video? Or would...
Excuse me, just to summarize that, those few videos you've just seen probably have at least 250 encampments in them. We have other videos, and I believe it would be upwards of more towards 500 in terms of the other videos we've taken, and we're continuing to take videos. As you can see, it's a hazard. It's a public safety hazard for the folks out there, and it's an environmental disaster waiting to happen.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Kitts. Next up is Ms. McCauley, and then Ms. Acosta.
Good evening. Without a doubt, homelessness in Sacramento has reached critical proportions. These videos just show a small sample of more than 2,000 individuals who are unsheltered and sleeping outdoors in Sacramento. Many of our homeless neighbors have found refuge within the riparian zones of the American and Sacramento rivers and its many creeks and streams. This is one of a growing number of tent cities where people without shelter are living in horrible conditions with no sanitation. It's a public health hazard. The volume of consumers present, the poor state of sheltering equipment, the limited outreach presence, and the general levels of uncleanliness appear to make these urban encampments areas where hepatitis A is likely to thrive. We've seen hepatitis A outbreaks in San Diego and Monterey, E. coli outbreaks on the American River, and natural disasters like wildfires and mudslides are exacerbating this crisis. While homelessness is largely a social issue, it is apparent that homeless encampments along the American River waterways, and particularly along the lower American River, are a major contributor to trash and other pollutants entering its waterways. The environmental impacts of homeless encampments are not sustainable. In many places, the creeks have become unsafe for residents to access. The trash and other pollution entering the waterways significantly hinders fish passage and impairs this key habitat. Pushing the homeless from one encampment only to have them move to another underpass with no solution is expensive and wasteful. Creating a space where people can go with their tents and RVs is important to how we create a humane way forward. The city must fund services for people living in tents and the street, mobile showers, housing navigation centers, storage facilities, and homeless parking lots. Clearly, new approaches and alternative frameworks for a long-term solution are needed.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. Ms. Costa.
City Council members, we ask you take the following comprehensive actions to respond to the immediate crisis of homelessness, the related health and safety consequences, and the impending ecological threats. 1, declare a shelter crisis. 2, allocate resources to provide trash receptacles, restrooms, and showers in known encampments. In the absence of such measures, few assurances exist that homelessness will be managed effectively and that loading trash, human waste, and other pollution sources will cease to impair beneficial uses of public space. 3, provide large temporary tent sites that provide homeless Sacramentans a safe and sanitary place of refuge that will be used as bridge housing to get the most vulnerable individuals living in encampments into permanent housing. 4, fast-track construction of supportive housing for homeless people by allowing developers to bypass lengthy approval process for affordable housing when the project sets aside 35% of units in new affordable housing construction for homeless people. 5, pass a fair share ordinance that would mandate the city to work collaboratively and in partnership with every neighborhood to find appropriate locations for shelters and transitional housing that ensure each council district shares fairly in the location of such facilities. 6, convene a regional task force on homelessness of service providers, public health, local leaders, and neighborhood representatives that holds open meetings, shares information on the crisis, provides ongoing education to frontline organizations, highlights emerging issues, and solves problems collectively. Sacramentans are compassionate people who want to help solve the crisis. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Acosta. Thank you all for coming. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
And next speaker,
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
my next speaker is Wanda Cleveland, then Michael Voy, and then Pastor Gainsborough.
Welcome, Ms. Cleveland.
Good evening. As the mayor, I'm not feeling well myself, but I couldn't help but be here. As you just seen, it's disgusting, it's embarrassing, and our people on the street are being forced to live in unsanitary conditions because somebody doesn't want a tent city in their area or someone doesn't want a shelter in their area. It becomes a battlefield. And by whose expense? Our homeless population. They're not there because they want to be there. I've spoke to many of them myself. You guys are doing a good job by getting some of the stuff out and on to sheltering some of them. But even with what a little bit of shelter we have already placed, it's still not enough. You see the hundreds of people that are just living along the river, and there's more than that. On other outskirts of places, they're so afraid of what the police department's going to do by removing their belongings. And that's happening every single day. Every single day. The homeless population, if we had someone come into my area or my house and take my belongings, I would be pretty upset too. Let's all get together and bond together and work on this problem together. I'm going to City Council in Elk Grove, and we are proposing some stuff in Elk Grove, and I believe that it would be very helpful if you guys get involved.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cleveland. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Voy, then Pastor Gainsborough, and then Sally Shapiro.
Mr. Voy, Pastor Gainsborough, and Sally Shapiro after that.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. I usually don't wear my hat, but it'll become apparent why I'm wearing it. This weekend, I became aware of the McClatchy incident. I'm sure there's science fair. I don't know if everybody on the council is aware of that or not. And irrespective of how you feel about how it came about or the fact that it did, the fact is that 509 students enrolled, 247 were identified as white, 104 as Asians, 89 as Hispanics, 12 African Americans, and 57 students of mixed or ethnic background. What this indicates is this data in and of itself indicates that there's still work to be done. The dream is far from realized. Whether you marched a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whatever, There's a lot of work to be done. This morning, I was watching CBS, and there was a public service announcement. And in this public service announcement that was put together by the state of California, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it talks about the importance of nurturing and reading to infants. As soon as babies are born, it talks about how their brain develops, and they start learning from the very moment they're born. And so some of these numbers that I think that result in this McClatchy situation happen because African Americans and other minority students don't have the same home life support early on in those 2 months, 4 months. By the time you get to an after-school program, some children are already way far behind.
Mr. Voigt, thank you for your comments. Your
I
time
appreciate
is up.
it. I will have some additional comments to make
Thank you
and
very
a
much.
proposal for that.
Pastor Gainsborough, you're up.
There's Pastor Gainsborough, Sally Shapiro, and then Eric Frame.
Pastor?
Vice Mayor and Council, I've been coming here weekly over 2 years now, every week. It was worth 100 nights of my life to see the triage shelter opened at the beginning of November and sheltering 200 people, and I commend you on that. I commend the progress that's being made despite prejudice. If the overhead can pop this photo here. The article, when the shelter came out, said city's homeless shelter said to have little effect. Well, one of the first ladies that came into the shelter said she had been living on the river for 17 years, and she said, "This is the best thing I've ever done in my life." You've done great work with that, but there's so much more to do. 1 minute left to talk. I just want to encourage you. Sacramento can be a world-class city and a national city and a light on a hill if we will not close that first triage center, as the mayor has spoken about a year-round triage shelter and several. He's now mentioned we need 3. With the $400 million loan that was given to the Sacramento Kings, or however that was played, the Sacramento Kings need to offer the Sleep Train Arena for the shelter homeless crisis. There is a crisis here. We're going to talk later tonight about $824,000 for a riot incident control vehicle. But 2 people died this week, the homeless. 2 homeless died last week. 8 homeless died this last month. 112 died this last year. I've challenged the council to have a death toll goal for you all to take the bull by the horns, cut that death toll in half in 2018.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Here's Sally Shapiro, Eric Frame, and then Cynthia Kay.
Ms. Shapiro. Welcome. If you want, you can use the microphone there if that's better for you.
I'm Sally Shapiro. I'm a bronze sculptor. I wrote this song 2 years ago, and it's called Sweet William. Genocide lives in the USA, hurting the homeless as we play. They beg us for help and we look the other way, wallowing in guilt for one more day. The laws against loitering are unconstitutional, so it's making your neighbor's lawn into a urinal. They wish we were robots, but we're actually animals with bodily needs, but they're acting like cannibals. The system is rigged, the sewers are open, from the boroughs of Boston to the hills of Oakland. They've got their eyes so tightly shut, don't want to see the ugly that they have brought. My neighbor died jueves a las tardes against the fence with a smile on his face. After sleeping 6 months in the alley, his smile still revealed a heavenly valley. We're all suckling off the teat of corruption, and we don't know which way to look. Should we ride on the billy goat of destruction, or write a very unordinary book? The system is rigged, the sewers are open, from the boroughs of Boston to the hills of Oakland. They've got their hearts so tightly shut, can't feel the love they have in God. The genocide lives in the USA, hurting the homeless as we play. They beg us for help and we look the other way.
Ms. Shapiro, thank you for your song and your beautiful voice. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Eric Frame, then Cynthia Kay, then
Welcome, Mr.
Frederick
Frame.
Gale.
It's a tough act to follow, beautiful song. Okay, I'm just going to break it down, the additional issues. Besides the thousands of people on the street and the 2 people that die each week, we also have a great need for public bathrooms. We want water fountains to be turned on. Again, there is trash everywhere, as we have seen, and we'd love to pick up the trash. Maybe we could hire some of the homeless to pick up the trash or something like that. We also have rents going up the highest in the nation, right here in Sacramento, actually. So that's causing more homelessness. Just make note of that. We have unconstitutional and inhumane and expensive ordinances up and running. The panhandling ordinance recently passed, and the no camping ordinance, of course. We do actually have police brutality of African American citizens and mentally ill citizens as well. So we do need a citizen oversight of the police training. Our current leadership in the city is ignoring pleas for affordable housing. There's all these regulations making affordable housing seemingly impossible. But what is possible for the leaders of this city are arenas, possible Ferris wheels on the river, and dog shelters. All of those have been able to go through with flying colors. But the affordable housing that we all demand and beg for every week, not so much. Oh, and by the way, we're also a hub of child trafficking according to the FBI. We are here to help you. There's so many problems that I can't get to the good part. We're here to help you. All these people are here ready to just serve Sacramento and make it a better city. And, you know, we already feed and clothe your citizens for you. And we'd love to build some homes for our citizens as well. So let us do that, please. You can take our ideas. You can, if you need to talk to someone, we're here. We can listen. If you're dealing with addiction or something like that, we're here for you. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Kay, then Frederick Gale, then Richard Falcone. Ms. Kay. And after Ms. Kay, I have 11 more speakers for items not on the agenda.
Welcome, Ms. Kay.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Kay. I was here last week. I want to thank the council for sending me to Sacramento Step Forward. They are going to be able to help me. What I want to talk to you about is I'm not the only senior out there that is suffering this problem. I rode the bus last week, and there was a woman on the bus. She was almost in tears. She had already given away all of her furniture. She was trying to find someone to help her move her personal items because a friend was giving her a place to sleep. I was able to give her some numbers that might be able to help her. Seniors don't know about this. Seniors aren't provided with information. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to ask for this. She has a second floor apartment. She has no way of getting it down because she physically cannot move it. Had my friend not taken me in, had her friend not taken her in, we would both be on the street. We don't know where to go. We've never run into this. So some way this information needs to be provided to senior organizations to help seniors go through the change. Rents can change every year 9%. Do you know what that does to someone on Social Security? Destroys them. So they have to move. This is something you need to think about.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay,
Kay. Thank you so much for being here.
There's Frederick Gale, then Richard Falcone.
Mr. Gale, then Mr. Falcone. Is Mr. Gale? There he is.
Frederick Gale, Richard Falcone, and then Mary Tapple.
If the next speakers could be ready. Welcome, Mr. Gale. We'll get the overhead ready for you.
Very well. I want to remind you that I live in North Highlands, but my school district is Twin Rivers that include the county and the city. And if you read this document here, you see my concerns. And on the other side, that was 91, that's 94. We established a police department, and the responsibility for police service for the city and county. I would like to see them share that responsibility and the funds that we use in Twin Rivers to more productive kind of endeavor. So it's just a matter of concern because we all live in the same county. I would like to compliment the mayor on the meeting, the joint meeting they had between the county and the city, and I kind of compare that. I was saying Disraeli and Quantum Rizlu, your mayor and the chairman of the board of the Sacramento County. But I also remind you, at one time, the Grant School District extended into Natomas, all the way to the railroad, as a matter of fact, and across the freeway for a bit. So we live in the same area and the concern, so I would like the county and the city to share that expense for the police department for the Grant School District. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gale.
No
Mr. Falcone, you're up. No shouting out from the audience or we'll have you removed.
Council, Vice Mayor, thank you for your time here. Before we get started on what I wanted to talk about that I came here for, I just want to acknowledge all the folks that are here talking about the homelessness. And I'm going to take us in a different direction, but I want to let you, my heart's with you. I was homeless for a period of time. Through programs and things like that, I was able to get beyond that. And so, again, I feel for you. Anything I can do to help, please let me know. And again, I just want to take us in a different direction. Teatro Nahual, along with Teatro Espejo and Landeros Productions, wants to invite you to our fundraiser. I've left these with the city clerk for you to pass around. We are holding a fundraiser on February 25. It is a screening of The Last Brown Beret, and The Last Brown Beret is a new film that is out talking about the time period when the civil rights movement was in its heyday, especially around the Latino movement and that was going on. So I just want to make sure that you take the time, take a look at this. We hope to be coming to visit you soon to garner your support for more productions like this and more conversation about the rights that are out there that we all want to see continue with the growth that's going out there. And we have more to discuss tonight, so I'm going to let you go.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Here's Mary Tapple and then Robert Copeland.
Ms. Tapple and then Mr. Copeland.
Hi, Vice Mayor and members of the council. I'm following up again after the Dr. King March in January. But first I want to say I agree with all the women up here who showed the video. The Parkway has been getting worse. I was attacked from behind in the 2005 Great American River cleanup right upstream of the Green Bridge or the Jaboom Street Bridge. By then the Rusty Duck restaurant was still in operation, and so people were taking things from their recycling pile and begging food in their parking lot, and and they very much wanted to claim as public land of a small public beach there as their own, and so they even went to the extent of attacking me from behind. Anyway, it's now Black History Month, so I think it's particularly appropriate. I follow up again saying that I also wanted to have Dr. Bernice King, one of Dr. King's daughter, what she made comments in her book, I think it was towards following up with Dr. King's legacy of establishing the beloved community. She said she wanted to personally, something to the effect, she wanted to discomfort the people who were too comfortable, had too much, and comfort the ones who were struggling in our society. And I think it's, if you take, who was the nonviolent leader, Mahatma Gandhi, who said that live simply so others may simply live. If you enlarge that a little for those of us who are among the have too much in our wealthy society, you can say for us to take baby steps to continuously simplify for our own good and that of others, live more simply so others may live more peaceful and fulfilling lives. And I think it's to everyone's advantage to share what they have if they have extra, because if you look at the size now of the voluntary simplicity movement, the small houses movement, it's breaking out all over. People want a better life by having a simpler life.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Tapple.
sharing more. Thank you.
Mr. Copeland?
Robert Copeland and then Armando.
You know who I blame for these almost on these rivers? The city council, because you're not doing your job. There's not enough housing. How many apartments were built in Sacramento in 2017? About 5 times fewer than what was needed. That's a disgrace. You should cut through the red tape and get people, the developers, build houses or apartments. And we won't have this problem as much. Because I know a person that is in my organization, ACE, is, she's facing eviction tomorrow. And she's a single mother. What are you going to do? What is the city council going to do? I mean, Sacramento, people in Sacramento have compassion, but I don't think the city council does. I mean, this city council is a joke. You should all be replaced. You know why? Because you're not doing a job. I want to see a plan by my birthday. How are you going to solve this problem? So you got a few months because my birthday is on July 4th. So come up with a plan. Each one of you improve your districts by city council meeting after July 4th. Any city council member try to take that dare? Well, I don't see anybody. And I'd like to see the city council live on the streets for 1 week or 1 month. I don't think you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Dan.
Welcome, Mr. Flores.
Good evening. First off, I want to make sure that you guys understand that way too many people in the city are coming up to you weekly to ask to please get rid of that anti-camping city ordinance that is horribly affecting our city. This ordinance is causing a lot of problems, not only for the city, but also for all the citizens of Sacramento. You need to bring those bathrooms back and hand washing stations so we can avoid having people getting sick from fecal matter and from dirt in their hands or in their bodies, also for the rest of us, not just for the homeless. You know there's a lot of people that come to the Arco Arena or Golden One Arena and come to Old Sacramento and come downtown to try to be entertained, and they're walking around fecal matter all over the streets. Do you think they appreciate that? And do you think they're not worried about what's going to happen to them by being exposed to that? We should all be thinking about that. That is not safe. It's unhealthy. It's illegal to not take care of that. I don't understand why we have to beg you guys to do this. It's for human cost. It's not to benefit me. It's not to benefit the rest of the people. It's to benefit all of us. Things that make you money and things that make money to the city are your priority. Your citizens should be your priority. We have wasted too much money in arenas, in shopping centers, great hotel that we have downtown. But we need to spend that money on the citizens of Sacramento, especially the unhomed. They're the ones that need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. We have 7 more speakers on matters not on the agenda.
Next speaker is Stan, and then Fong, and then James Clark. Stan?
Mr. Stan.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah. Stan, citizen of the world, for the people, okay? City council, vice mayor, whatever you want to call yourself. Want to bring this up? Yeah, here we go. This is appalling, okay? That in this state, okay, this country, that the CHP would obey these criminals. They've stabbed innocent people just fighting for their own rights to exist, okay? And they issued this permit knowing there was going to be violence, okay? I don't think they would have issued a Black Panther permit, okay? Or a Black Lives Matter permit, but they issued this racist alt-right group, okay? Okay? And then it comes out that this guy that stabbed somebody got domestic violence. Surprise. He's also part of Blue Lives Matter, another terrorist organization. Okay? Okay? So, and they're okay with this. And then some people get stabbed, almost murdered right there on federal property. If I would have did that, I would have got the chair. Or anybody out here would have got the chair. They protected them, okay? And in fact, you protect them, okay? And then the investigators, they don't even ask the right questions. They're telling the people trying to protect their freedoms, okay, from Nazi, okay, Min Kif, okay? They interrogate them, okay? Also, this rent control, you got to do something. It's ridiculous. It's not San Francisco. It's not LA. There's nothing to offer. This is a basic city. I've been here 40 years. There's nothing special about this city. You need to do something. These guys are out of control. I know people, they went around with realtors, developed, oh, let's just add 50,000 to this property, not even having it appraised. It's ridiculous. And the homeless, you need to do more. And if you can't, it's going to be on you. Trust me.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, Madam Clerk. Fung. After Fung is Mr. Clark.
How out of touch you guys are. It's really funny because you're talking about discrimination tonight, how people are discriminated against, but you are creating situation where people are being discriminated against. You're discriminating against the homeless people. Why is it that it's okay for you to sit up there and tell people to treat everyone fairly? How about discrimination of the unhoused people? No one should die on the streets. The vulnerability index is Sophie's choice. Do you know what that is? It's to avoid, for Sophie, she had to avoid having both children killed. She chose her son, Jan, to be sent to the children's camp, and her daughter, Eva, to be sent to her death. We must not see choices in those terms. We are at an epic crisis, and people's lives are made into choices based upon criteria. It is time to declare an emergency, a housing rental crisis, a health crisis, and a spiritual crisis. Anyone exposed to elements without ways to protect themselves are vulnerable and need immediate and emergent help. People who have mental illnesses, treated or untreated, with predisposition or trauma based on experiences of being homeless, as well as elderly, are at risk. Sophie's choice was just absurd as our choices now. To choose not to help, to invalidate people's worth based on criteria of privilege, what the privileged deem as worthy of helping. How must a person choose one life over another?
Thank you for your comments. Your time has expired.
Shame on you. This is my friend, John.
Mr. Clark,
he had to die on the street.
Thank you for your
because
comments.
of you guys.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Clark.
There's James Clark and then Trina Allen.
So I'm going to start off what Stan was saying. Also, the district attorney, Ann Schubert, also took a look at all that evidence and decided that the Nazis that had the knives, of which there's plenty of pictures of them with knives, didn't deserve to get charged because she couldn't identify them. You all endorsed her, by the way. So don't forget that. You endorsed somebody that helped Nazis not get charged for stabbing people at our state capitol. Good job. So also, I want to address some of these pictures. If you notice in most of those pictures, most of those camps, it looked like they were actually trying to keep it somewhat clean. The trash is in piles, this, that, the other. You can see where people had been moved away from their camps, which leads to them having to leave stuff behind, because when you're moving, they usually only give you like 15, 20 minutes to clear all your stuff out. So you're going to have stuff left behind. There was a great idea that they had about establishing safe tent cities, sanctioned areas where people can sleep and have their tents. If there's a known tent area, put trash cans in restrooms near where people are at so that the river stays cleaner. You know, quit pushing people further and further from wanting to accept your help. Because the more you crack down and criminalize people's existence, the less they're going to trust you. You know, when their service workers are out there trying to make contact with these people, and then they get moved on every other day, every couple of days they have to move someplace else, not only does it lead to more trash being left behind, it leads to them being more reluctant to accept services because you keep moving them away from the people that are offering them. Also, I really would like to address more about these business districts and the way they're impacting some of this. Such as the letter that the business districts all sent saying, no, don't make it to where churches can shelter the homeless. Which is really ironic because the council was saying they wanted to do this, but they're sitting on the board of directors of these same bids.
Mr. Clark, thank you for your comments.
Kind of interesting conflict of interest there.
Thank you for your comments.
Allen, and then Sierra. Trina Allen, and then Sierra. And then I have 2 more speakers after Sierra.
Welcome, Trina.
Hello, my name is Trina Allen, and I'm a Sacramento resident. I'm here today to stand with Black Lives Matter Sacramento to demand complete oversight of our police department, including its trainings. An association of police officers should not be in charge of the facilitation of trainings ordered as a result of police violence in our community. Any actions the city makes that uses our tax dollars towards accountability and transparency should be strictly monitored by the community that it serves. As a voting member of the Sacramento community, here are my demands. Sacramento Police Commission should be empowered to approve the process and confirm the completion of each training. Training needs to be conducted on site with the exception of field trips and facilitated by experts in the fields of training curriculum. Training should conclude with a test of understanding, and training needs to be overseen and monitored by community members that have experiences relevant to the training now. Because the City Council does not provide an appropriate space for children to play and parents to care for them while engaging civically, I cannot comment on item number 5, so I'll do so now. Your police department killed 2 black men experiencing mental health issues and has done nothing to atone for their deaths. Now they are asking for nearly $1 million for a bus. We need $1 million in affordable housing and shelter. We need $1 million in showers and toilets. $1 million in reparations for the state violence they have inflicted on black, brown, poor, and unhoused communities. Do not feed those that bite your people when you could be feeding the people themselves. They are dying. Did you hear those numbers? They are dying. You know this. Do more. Do better.
Thank you, Trina.
Our next speaker is Sierra, then Phil Rios, and then Mac Worthy is our last speaker for items not on the agenda.
Welcome, Sierra.
Hello, my name is Sierra, and I am a Sacramento resident, and I'm here today to stand with Black Lives Matter Sacramento to demand a complete oversight of our police department, including its trainings. An association of police officers should not be in charge of the facilitation of trainings ordered as a result of police violence on our community. Any actions the city makes that use our tax dollars toward accountability and transparency should be strictly monitored by the community it serves. As a voting member of Sacramento community, here are my demands. Sacramento Police Commission should be empowered to approve the process and confirm the completion of each training. Training needs to be conducted on-site with the exception of field trips and facilitated by experts in the field of the training's curriculum. Training should conclude with a test of understanding, and trainings need to be overseen and monitored by community members that have experiences relevant to the training. I am sick of explaining to my 4-year-old that because of the way that he looks, he is more likely to be shot by the people who are supposed to be protecting him. That's it.
Thank you for your comments, Sarah.
Next speaker is Phil Rios, and then Mac Worthy.
Mr. Rios, I just saw you. Oh, there you are. Welcome, Mr. Rios.
Happy Valentine's Day, gender neutral to all you people. That's it. I feel the emotions behind, but I'm not going to get
Stand in front of the microphone, please.
Okay. I feel the emotions behind the people behind me, but I'm not going to get in that topic, and I understand what you have to deal with. So I'm here for Black History. I'm a past commander of VAC. I represent 6,000 veterans in the Sacramento County area. Eric has always been there, and my councilman, Rick Jennings, has always been there, strident supporter. Briefly, the VAC, the VFW Post 67 had this from 2011 to 2015. It got too expensive. This year, the VAC has chosen to take resume this task at the VFW Hall, Post 67. And what inspired me to do it is my father was a gunner's mate, World War II, U.S. Navy, South Pacific. He survived serious sea battles, horrible sea battles. And the policy of the U.S. Navy at that time was to have all Filipino sailors and black sailors go to the bottom of the ship. They were not allowed to train on weapons. My father saw ships that were hit and torpedoed by kamikazes. Those ships went down. It bothered him that those black sailors never had a chance. He told me about that. That bothered me. I wanted to resume this event, and I feel it's significant that Sacramento area black veterans, I know quite a few, I've survived 2 wars and I fought with them. It's significant that they be recognized and brought to the attention of the Sacramento public, also to be examples of today's youth, that there's heroes and there's warriors, and they're quiet, they're humble, and we invite the city council. We sent letters of support to your chief of staff, and you have a letter of what I've said in detail.
Mr. Rios, thank you so much for your comments. Your time has concluded. And our last speaker is Mr. Mac Worthy. Mac. After this is the consent calendar. We have 9 people signed up to speak on the consent calendar.
This is the second time. This is Negro History Month, but we are afraid of our identity. We got Africans, everything. People, to be an African American, you have to have an African daddy. Blood. Check the scientific technology. Now, we only had here is 2 black women retired from the police department to present here. It's a disgrace. It is a disgrace. The first 2 black folks went on the police department in South Carolina, my blood. 5 years, they blew one's head off. I experienced brutality. Told them you're going to get your head blew off. But we sit and we look at it. Now, a lot of documentation's on TV over the weekend, and the one pops out at me, the black woman sat on the front seat. Black women, yellow women, been able to sit wherever they want to sit in America. That's what we call the black titty. The same man was pregnant with the babies that you were working in the house. When they're crying, you stick the titty in their mouth, it's the same blood. But we sit here and look at the black thing. If it wasn't Jim Crow, it couldn't have happened. That's what I'm telling you about segregation without power, we turn it loose. You can't do that now because we have no community. You are at large. But why they didn't hold on to it? Because of the ignorancy. Didn't know corporate law. Now, when we look at the facts of diversity, if it's 40% white and 50% others, name them. What is diversity? When we look at 40% blacks and the others are diversity, but we don't have the power. But when it's 40% white, you have the power. When you look at your charter schools, it's 90% black, and nobody's saying a word. Law is the law. Law is the law, but you won't enforce it. We sit and we look at things that, why don't you enforce it? Because you lie. Black and white folks and Jews just lie, lie, lie. You can't keep lying, people. It's coming. So wake up. I'll be here to tell you.
Thank you, Mr. Worthy. All right, we're on to the consent calendar. Do any members have changes or modifications? Well, we have to take public comment first, but we've got a motion from Mr. Warren and a second from Mr. Jennings. Madam Clerk?
Our first speaker is Jacob Brandt on item number 3.
Mr. Brandt,
And
please
then
come forward.
Then Pastor Gainsborough on item 5.
Pastor Gainsborough, and who's the third one?
The third one is Fong on item number 5.
All right. You're up.
Weed abatement, right? Weeds are an undesirable plant, so anything that you see that you don't want, you should cut it down. And I think we need to expand that onto the mistletoe. That is a disease that is affecting many of the trees around here, and we are a city of trees. So we need to probably work with the homeless, train them in becoming arborists and things of that sort, because they'll never be at a job in the city of trees as an arborist. I had an item to speak on the public comment before this, but I got zipped out. So I just want to say I approve this. You know, I think we should work with the homeless and working with them to train them to know the plants, because weeds, it's just a vague term. It's an undesirable, anything you want. And we need to plant our California natives, water-wise plants, as they say, but that's just a misnomer, because California natives have that implication. Perennials especially, because their deep roots can help remediate our soils, and better soils mean better water storage, so we don't have to spend excess money on big water storage, because Earth already does that. We're just trying too hard to fit Earth to our means, but we've got to reevaluate that, especially if we want a sustainable future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brandt. Next speaker.
Speaker is Pastor Gainsborough, Fong, and then James Fago Clark, all on item number 5.
Welcome back, Pastor.
Vice Mayor and Council. Mindy, if you could help with the overhead on here. Could they reset my time to when I asked for the overhead?
Please continue with your comments, Pastor.
I'll just move ahead. So item number 5 on the consent calendar tonight is $824,000. $824,000 for a mobile incident vehicle. In other words, in common language, or Koine Greek, that the New Testament was written in, a riot control vehicle. $824,000. I've been told that public restrooms are a finance issue to the city council. But I happen to know that the ADA compliant restroom in Fort Natomas only rents for $200 or $300 a month. And yet $824,000. I am against this. If your constituents knew tonight and voted that 2 people died this week on the streets, 2 died last week, 112 died last year, and more may die this year, and you are going to not stand up against a waste of $824,000 while people, your constituents, are dying out there. They're dying tonight. Say it with me.
Pastor.
They're dying to say it again. They're dying
Pastor.
tonight.
Pastor.
They're dying.
Pastor, you
Vice Mayor,
address
they're
the
dying
council.
tonight. My
Thank you.
time is just about up, but one more time. They're dying tonight.
Before the next speaker, I'll remind the speakers. Before the next speaker, I'll remind the speakers to address the council. Thank you.
Fong, and then James Fago Clark.
Good evening, people of Sacramento. I'm here to speak about the item number 5 that you are you're really making an implicit message here. Since we're really talking about implicit biases, implicit messages, discrimination, you have chosen the side of the oppressors. You have chosen to demonize any kind of dissent against authority. The enemy of the people are actually my enemy. So that makes you guys my enemy. Why are we defending and demonizing people who are anti-racist? Why are we defending fascists and racists? Privilege should not continually be given to people in power like you guys. Privilege should be given to the voiceless, the homeless. In saying they're the enemies of the state, there is a veil of privilege. To assert that disloyalty to the state is somehow sacrilegious. It is that you need to get an armored vehicle to defend against. It is a double-edged sword here. Notoriety and being scapegoated. But idealism and dissent in regards to liberation originated from a dark, violent place of injustice. The spawn of injustice is where living and breathing is an act of rebellion. Most spectators of the anarchist extremists can see property damage as violence. But the dissenters defended against,
Thank you for your comments, Fong.
You people.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Clark.
So Mr. Clark and then Robert Copeland.
So item number 5 is, once again, the city working backwards. You know, it's not too often we actually see any riots in Sacramento, so why we would need a riot vehicle, a riot command center, basically, mobile, in Sacramento, kind of baffles me. And then I kind of think about, you know, one of these quotes from Dr. King concerning rioting, where he talks about how it's the voice of the unheard. And then I look at what you guys keep doing, and you keep ignoring the public to cater more and more to the business interests, which is actually how you create recipes to cause riots, because the public can only take so much before it snaps. We're here as peaceful protesters, peaceful demonstrators. I live my life through peaceful demonstration as I address these issues. But how many of the residents out there that don't come out and speak adhere to my policy of nonviolence? How long is it going to take of you guys ignoring the people? And instead of doing things to actually help the people and address the needs and concerns that people are here every single week to talk to you about, you instead want to say, hey, let's get a riot control vehicle so that we can keep ignoring them, and then we'll be better prepared for when they finally snap. That's what this message sends to the public. You're basically saying that you expect there to be riots because you're going to continue to ignore us, which is exactly what you do every single week. But hey, those people that go to that nice rich theater over there didn't have enough bathrooms, so let's give that an uplift. Oh, hey, you know, these developers want to develop this really expensive thing where we are pushing people onto the streets. Let's do that. Oh, let's get a riot control vehicle so that we can continue to ignore our public. No, thank you. You should listen better.
Mr. Clark, next speaker.
Eric Frame.
Mr. Copeland, then Mr. Frame.
Why is this even on the consent calendar? I mean, it's a joke. If the city council and the police would treat the people with respect, we wouldn't need a riot vehicle that costs $800,000, which could be better spent helping the people instead of oppressing the people. This, like a toilet, a drinking fountain, garbage cans. You get the point. Why are we spending money on this? What is next? A tank? I mean, really? Isn't this a little bit of overkill? You know, I made a comment this city council should be replaced. I'm starting to believe it more and more and more. This city council is a joke. It should be replaced with people that have compassion. Sacramento's supposed to be a compassionate city, not the city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. Mr. Frame. Mr. Frame.
Next speaker is Eric Frame, and then Armando, and then Mackworthy.
Mr. Frame.
Okay, so clearly it's basically a tank, I think, anyway. I'm assuming it's going to be very tank-like. But, okay, so we know we could use the money better to, for instance, put up porta potties and stuff like that. But I'm going to put it, narrow it down to just the police, generally, and the police themselves. We are a hub of child trafficking. The DA dedicated less than $100,000 to the investigation of child and human trafficking. So when you do the math there, we have over $864,000 going to a tank versus less than $100,000 going to the investigation of child and human trafficking. Ron Emsley, he's not here tonight, but he comes up every week basically, and he points out the countless amount of murders that go unsolved. Thank you, Wanda. Unsolved. So maybe we could look into those rather than another tank. We could repeal the unconstitutional and inhumane and expensive no camping ordinance. That uses up a lot of police resources. $5 million to move people from the river that just came back. We do need citizen oversight of the police. It's been a tough night for you guys, right?
Thank you, Mr.
It's
Frank.
been tough. I've still got 20 seconds.
Feel free.
You know, we really do want to help you. I know you might be struggling in your personal life, and we're here for you. And if you want to come, if you just want to have a beer, I'll buy you a beer, and we'll discuss what holds you guys back, and maybe anything.
Thank you, Mr. Frame.
Anything,
Thank you.
guys.
Our next
anything.
speaker is Mr. Flores, and then Mr. Worthy. Armando, are you still here? I don't see Armando. Mr. Worthy, you're the last speaker on the consent calendar.
Don't do drugs.
People, we look at this consent calendar, and I got some tips on it. The reason that I will be opposing the whole calendar, but I only can speak to a couple of them. Now, when we look at it, number 11, that should be transparency. How do you make that and put that money out there and the public don't know about it? Number 10 should be transparency, some other paperwork to that. And then you look at 8. Look at number 8, nonprofit, number 7 and 6. I got some information after I showed to the federal government. I'm going to bring you in here after this month over and show you something here. Because, see, that's not transparency with the neighborhood. We don't know what they're doing. That should be put out on an agenda so those people can understand. And then we look at number 2. That should be transparent as who he appoint. Where is the report on what that person is doing that was appointed? They never come in here. You never say what that you point that person to. This should be the public information. So what is that person doing? But I know what it is, but the general public don't. That's the political molds for your votes. Just like when you want to say something about black people, you bring your church. That's your votes, people. That's no leadership. That's your votes. There's no money in that. People should have opportunity when you are making those decisions, have some voice when you're making those decisions. But no. It'll go the other way on you if we have voice. I'm not saying me. It's other people think like I think, because I shall not surrender under no circumstances with my strategy. I got a few more years here and hope that I get somebody to file the right papers here, because we'll talk to the federal government about something here, because I know what I got from the League of California Cities through the federal government. So I'm looking, can I get that here and show it to the people?
Thank you, Mr. Worthy. We have a motion from Councilmember Warren, a second from Councilmember Jennings. I see no one signed up or punched up to speak. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We're on to the next item, item number 12.
Item number 12 is the City Auditor's 2017 audit of the city's gender and ethnic diversity.
Mr. City Auditor? While we wait for them to get us set up, I'd like to just acknowledge the 19 people that have been waiting for public comment on this, and I know we're going to have a great discussion. Are you ready, Mr. City Auditor?
I'm ready. Thank
All right,
you.
please proceed.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Hansen and members of the City Council. Jorge Ceguera, your City Auditor. With me today is Sean Arnold, who was primarily responsible for completing this audit. The recommendation that is before you is that you pass a motion approving the City Auditor's 2017 audit of the city's gender and ethnic diversity. The report consists of one finding and 6 chapters of demographic information. For the purposes of this report, when we refer to all city employees, we are referring to both part-time and full-time employees as of October of 2017. When we refer to management employees, we are referring to employees holding a position designated as executive management, management employee, management support, or mayor council support. Our first finding is that the Department of Human Resources failed to follow federal reporting and documentation requirements. Federal law requires employers, including the city government, to collect and maintain certain demographic information and report that data biannually to the EEOC. We made 3 recommendations to address this issue, which included to designate the ethnicity of individuals that do not self-report and to update the city's system so that it has complete information. For the purposes of this audit's comparison to City of Sacramento residents, we used the 2015 U.S. Census Bureau population estimates. Based on this information, the city's 3 largest ethnicities are white, Hispanic, and Asian. The city's gender split is 48.5% male and 51.5% female. In this table, we provide an overview of all city departments and their ethnic composition. In the bottom 2 rows, we can compare our overall employee composition to that of our city residents. Highlighted, you will notice that the mayor and council is one of our most diverse departments. Using the same information used in the previous chart, we created this heat map which helps to identify where the city deviates the most from residents' ethnic composition by detailing the percentage point difference. The lighter colors indicate that you are closer to the representing our city residents. For example, the mayor and council currently consists of 29% white employees, and the city residents consist of 34% white. Therefore, in this table, mayor and council reflect a -4 percentage point difference in that particular group. This bar graph is intended to show the year-over-year change by ethnic category. However, as expected, it is difficult to notice a significant change when monitoring a group of almost 5,000 employees over a 1-year period. In order to better assess where there has been a shift in our hiring composition, we analyzed our new hires as of July of 2016. As shown in this table, new hires reflect a different ethnic distribution than our legacy employees. You may also notice the large percentage of non-specified. Having a large number of non-specified could potentially skew the results. However, as shown on the next slide, the ethnic distribution of non-specified does not appear to create a problem. Subsequent to the completion of our analysis, we received the ethnic information for those that were not specified. This table provides the detailed breakdown of the missing information. According to HR, changes have been made to ensure that this information is captured and incorporated into ECAPS going forward. This table shows our gender composition by department. Overall, our employees consist of 34% females, and our city population is 51.5% female. To get a sense of whether there may be a gender equity gap, we compared the number of employees to the percentage of total salary. To the extent that there is a points difference, it may point to a potential issue with compensation inequity between the genders. For example, 66% of employees are males, yet males earn 73% of the annual salary for our employees. To look at the gender issue from a different perspective, we also looked at the average salaries when compared to tenure. When looking at all employees, we see that there is approximately a $20,000 gap on average in annual salaries. When we focus on full-time employees, which is the bottom section, this gap narrows to approximately $12,000. We also looked at the gender issue by salary range. As you can see, as compensation goes up, females represent a smaller percentage of each group. We also looked at our new hires for gender composition. Of the 777 hired after July of 2016, 43% were female, whereas employees hired prior to July of 2016 were approximately 32% female. When we narrow our analysis to management employees, you may notice that employee ethnic diversity gap gets a little larger. And that is reflected in the bottom two rows, which compares our overall city ethnic composition for our residents to the total for the management employees that were identified. However, the gender composition gap of management employees gets more narrow. The city's population is 51.5% female, and our female managers are approximately 48%. The compensation gap between genders in management is on average approximately $20,000, which is similar to all city employees. As you may have anticipated, females make up a smaller portion of the management employees in the higher salary ranges as well. In terms of new management staff, they were split almost 50-50, which is similar to our city residents composition, where our new hires were 68 managers and 49% of them were female, whereas our legacy staff were approximately 48% as well. We also looked at salaries comparing all employees of color to those that are white. Where a percentage difference is noted, it may be indicative of a potential compensation inequity. For example, employees of color make up approximately 40% of our total employees, but only receive approximately 35% of total salary. Performing the same comparison for management employees, the percentage gap narrows to almost even. We also performed this analysis looking specifically at gender. The top half focuses on all female employees, and the bottom half focuses on all male employees. As you can see, when looking at all female employees, 44% of all female employees are of color. However, they receive only 40% of compensation. In the last two chapters, we focused on emergency services. Again, in the larger departments, it is going to be harder to see a change over a single year's time. This table details the fire department's demographic information. Looking at the new hires at the fire department, it appears that there has been a notable shift in the ethnic composition. As shown in this graph, the employees that are considered legacy employees were approximately 76% white, and our new hires as of July of 2016 are 52% white. Likewise, there is a noticeable increase in the number of Hispanic firefighters that were hired, which went from 13% Hispanic to 25% Hispanic. New hires from the gender perspective are similar to the legacy sworn composition overall. This is the detailed information for the police department, which details the year-over-year change for the different sworn positions in the fire department. We also looked at the new hires for the police department. Based on this analysis, we noticed that the black ethnicity increased from 4% in our legacy employees to 13%, which would be in line with our city residents' population. New hires from a gender perspective are similar to the sworn composition overall. This concludes my presentation. I would like to thank the City Manager's Office, and in particular the Human Resources staff, for their time and assistance in completing this audit. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. City Auditor. I believe before we get to public comment, we have one additional presenter, Ms. Milstein, our Assistant City Manager, is going to offer some management comments.
All right, thank you.
Welcome, Laney. It's not fair. He had help, but you have to do it yourself.
Oh, that's okay. I'm all good. I just did it the old-fashioned way, so.
There you go.
Good evening, Lainey Milstein, Assistant City Manager. And the first thing I want to point out, just so you know, is that the EEO data where we had a HR department failed to comply has all been updated, and we've got a process in place to make sure that we're current on that data on a go-forward basis, so that won't ever happen again. What I wanted to provide for you is some information on what the Human Resources Department and the City of Sacramento's efforts have been in order to start to address this issue. And the Human Resources Department has worked very hard on our efforts to expand outreach, applicant pools, and employee diversity, even without our diversity and equity manager in place. In the first two slides I'm going to provide a summary of our commitment to expand our outreach and recruitment efforts. We've engaged with our community to provide training, participated in job fairs, brought community members into our recruitment process to serve on interview panels, have expanded our stakeholder network to provide targeted recruitment materials and amplify our voice to get the word out about opportunities within the city. And we've rolled out training to provide our employees with the tools to be successful in moving forward in the city. We're continuing with these efforts into 2018. We need to make sure that we're doing everything possible to ensure that we have a diverse candidate pool, because if we're not getting diverse applicants, there really is no chance to move the needle when we fill our positions. These efforts, however, cannot stand alone. It's also incumbent that we ensure that the hiring process is fair and equitable to all candidates. This isn't just a matter of having processes and policies in place. We need to make sure that the people making the interview and hiring decisions are not unfairly allowing biases to affect hiring decisions. And so we've talked about bias training, and you've heard it in different ways: implicit bias, unconscious bias. We're calling it now unbiasing. And to that end, we're in the process of developing and rolling out training to provide our employees the tools to recognize, address, and overcome personal or organizational bias of their particular place in the city. It's not an easy process, and it really starts at the top. Our executive team completed training in February of 2017. In the police department, their managers, both sworn and non-sworn, have completed implicit bias training, and the department is currently in the process of developing training for its officers. We're currently finalizing course content to roll out our citywide training, focusing first on employees involved in the hiring process. We hope to implement, there will be opportunities for people to come to training offered by our City U, but we also hope to implement a train-the-trainer model, because it's not always the process where somebody comes and someone speaks at you who you don't know. I think there's certainly value in seating our organization with people who are going to stand up for this process internally and hearing it from their peers. So we want to start planting those seeds within our organization. And as was committed to the Budget and Audit Committee when they heard this item, a more detailed training plan will be presented at the March 6th Budget and Audit Committee. We've checked in, we've taken care to, in the finalizing of our course content, to check in with some experts that we've been referred to, the American Leadership Forum and the McKinsey Group, and believe that our training reflects Council's commitment for our organization to identify and address these biases that may be affecting our hiring process. Next, I want to have a chance to talk about the recruitment of our diversity and equity manager. We've certainly had challenges in filling this position. We've come close, but unfortunately have not been able to find the right person at the right time to meet the city's requirements for this key position. My number one commitment is to fill this position with the right person, given Council's priority relative to improving our outcomes on gender and ethnic diversity within the city's workforce.
We're currently working with industry experts on the job description and with our recruiter to ensure that the next recruitment is successful, and we hope to have the position open within the next month. Very quickly, I also want to share that we are in full swing with our Human Resources Director recruitment, which I think that our HR and Diversity Manager are going to work closely with. Human Resources is responsible for that recruitment and outreach function. So the HR Director, the Diversity Manager, myself, and the teams within HR are going to work very closely together to roll out all of these initiatives. We hope to have our interview panel happening next week for that position and then be making a final decision by very early March. So we'll be very quickly filling some key positions in this process. As I said earlier, our plan assumes that all of the workshops, training, partnerships that were outlined on our prior slides for 2017 continue into 2018. And in addition, we're always looking for new opportunities. So recognizing that opportunities remain for increasing recruitment and outreach, we've also entered into a recent partnership with Careers in Government to seamlessly post all of our recruitment efforts through their diversity network, expanding the reach of our job postings with the goal of increasing our visibility and connection with diverse applicants. It really starts there. As I stated earlier, if diverse candidates don't apply, we can't hire them. I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much. I think we'll get to public comment. Madam Clerk.
I have 19 speakers for public comment. The first is Caroline Cabillas, Taddy Aguilera.
Welcome, and thank you all for your patience.
Council members, I'm Caroline Cabillas. I co-chair the UC Davis Chicano Latino Alumni Association. August 2016, I recommended to this council development of a strategic and tactical plan to address the major underrepresentation identified in the 2016 diversity report. Fast forward to February 2018, no plan, little progress in 18 months. We ask you again to prioritize the development of a formal plan to address underrepresentation of people of color, the LGBT community, veterans, as well as salary inequity issues. Communities of color, and specifically women of color, are the most underrepresented in the city workforce. This plan should include at a minimum the following: outcomes that are specific, measurable, and time-framed, responsibility and accountability for progress assigned as a top priority for management, a quarterly progress report to council and the public, which allows for transparency and for corrective actions where needed before another year of inaction passes. To show communities of color and women that lack of progress after 18 months is unacceptable to you, the city should engage expert HR management immediately to kickstart your HR program while key vacancies are being filled. HR management expertise is needed to do the following: start the immediate development of the strategic HR roadmap, direct HR staff on identifying, prioritizing, and implementing needed policies and written procedures and best practices, meaning document them. Conduct a management review of HR operations to identify challenges and opportunities to support needed change. Be dedicated to managing the implementation of this work as a priority. HR expertise can be contracted for from private consultants or entities such as Cooperative Personnel Services and would eliminate continuing disruption of existing HR assignments. It's an opportunity to creatively address a management problem different than the normal way you do, and recognizing the fact that these critical vacancies you're filling will be done in some unknown period of time.
Thank you, Ms. Cabillas.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Madam
Next
Clerk.
speaker is Taddy Aguilera, and then George Rea.
Hello, City Council. My name is Taddy Aguilera, and I'm the State President of Cafe de California Chicano Latino State Employees Association. I also sit on the Board of Directors for the UC Davis Cal Aggie Alumni Association. I'm here to just mention a couple items. I think recruitment is a very important item, and I think HR needs to have more meetings with the community, not only representation on interview panels, but also at the beginning of the selection process. And we strongly recommend that we have diversity in the application review process, because that's where it starts before you get to the interview, and we think that is very critical. The last thing I just want to mention, that I think it's very, very important that the community and the City of Sacramento continue to have regular meetings with communities of colors, veterans, women, and all the groups, so that, because we are the stakeholders and we have a lot to offer, and we're happy to be here and to assist. Also, we want to thank the Auditor's Office and your offices for encouraging and bringing this diversity issue. We know it's important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aguilera. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is George Rea, then Arturo Alman.
Welcome, Mr. Rea.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Members of the council, I'm here as a concerned citizen and not representing an organization. We've met, our working group has met with the city manager, so we've discussed some of this already with him. Some of our people have experience with state personnel. So they're experienced people, and some of them have been selected to sit on panels. We had an incident where an applicant that appeared before an interview panel had no experience, even though the qualifications required some experience. And the city had a contractor, a private firm, select the interviewees. So the city needs to monitor better its contractors. And as far as we also really need the diversity in the panels. When a person goes for a job interview, they're absolutely nervous. How would you feel if you're a person of color and you went and appeared before a panel that was all white? And I heard earlier about implicit bias. We really need diversity in the panels, not just a diversity in the applicant pool, but also in the people interviewing for jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raya. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Arturo Alman, and then Janeth Rodriguez.
Welcome. Good evening, members of the council. My name is Arturo Aleman, and I will be speaking on behalf of United Latinos, a nonpartisan nonprofit that seeks the full participation of Latinos in the civic arena, including as city employees. I was here last year, or 2016, when you accepted the report on diversity from Mr. Oseguera, the city auditor. Once again, I'm here tonight to urge you to take the next steps that you need to take to have a city workforce that is inclusive and representative of the people that live in the city. In order to do so, you need to ensure the fair criteria are used by all of those who are taking exams. And in order to do that, you need to remove all personal biases, and we have anecdotal information that shows that there is personal bias that's being used in the panels. The uniform guidelines on employment selection issued by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission ensure that fair criteria are used by all. So I'd like to see the human resources staff prepare or oversee the preparation of examinations on behalf of the city, should have the training on the use of the EEOC process. The process is very clear, and it shows how the guidelines should be used. Apparently, they're not being used within the city. I'd also like to point out that the EEO policy is not easily available online. It took me 20 minutes to find your policy, and it's not labeled in any way. The label is within the HR department website, but to dive into that, it takes quite an effort. So it's a chilling effect. The EEOC policy itself has a chilling effect in that it has language that is not appropriate for EEO policy. So I did look at your policy, and I'd like to provide it to you.
Mr. Aleman, your time is up, but thank you for your comments. They're very helpful.
I give the policy.
Yes, please give them to the clerk right there.
Mark the parts where you might want to look at it.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Janeth Rodriguez, then Luisa Menchenka.
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Janeth Rodriguez. I come before you on behalf of the Latino Democratic Club of Sacramento, and we are definitely really interested in just the direction that the city is going. We definitely think that there's underrepresentation, obviously, for people of color who are also represented in your employees. And so I just want to commend the city for actually starting to take a move towards the right direction. But we do think that there's a lot of work that you can do to actually kind of move the process along. Specifically, I think some of the recommendations are around definitely not just the training for employees that are actually doing the hiring, but actually having a diverse panel that can actually participate in the hiring process for the employees that are coming onto the city. We also would like to recommend that there is a proper oversight of of the data that's being reported, so having timely goals that you're actually striving towards achieving and having an opportunity to share that back with the public is another recommendation that we would have. And then the other recommendation we have is to have adequate oversight. And so we actually recommend that if possible, you separate the Office of Civil Rights from the HR manager's office to have that just kind of independent body. And then we appreciate the opportunity again to be used as a resource. We reach a lot of the community, and so we are definitely open and available to provide any assistance or to come in and help in any way we can. Thank you,
Ms. Rodriguez.
Next speaker is Luisa Menchaca, then Teresa Riviera.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Luisa Menchaca, and I represent the League of United Latin American Citizens. We have been working with your staff now about a year and a half, since August of 2016, to help you look at the various hiring issues, including recruiting people and sitting in on the community panels. I personally sat on two-day panel for the diversity panel. I've come to believe that you have issues that are way beyond recruitment. You may have to look at your examination process and make sure that the tests are validated, to make sure that we're not creating additional obstacles for people. But once they get past that recruitment stage, there are also critical stages that you need to review. But today I want to reiterate that as the speaker before said, that we believe that in terms of data collection, you need to get feedback on a quarterly basis. If you're actually going to be able to analyze implicit bias, you need to see it more than a year and a half out or yearly. So we encourage you to do that in order to determine where it is that you need to make those specific changes as recruitment efforts come up. And we also do believe that you need to gauge the process of the staff on a frequent basis by encouraging the city manager, as he has, to meet with community groups and get that feedback. An important part of the feedback that we have given is that there are various areas where you need specific policies and procedures to make sure that the system is working. And finally, we have begun the dialogue, and we encourage you to continue with the dialogue so that you can establish a comprehensive bilingual services program, and we'll be there again to assist you with that process.
Thank you so much for your comments, Ms. Menchaca.
Teresa Riviera, and then Carolina Flores.
We have 13 more speakers on this item.
I come before you tonight to thank Eric Guerra for supporting the diversity stakeholders, which was formed in the aftermath of the release of the July 2016 City Auditor's Gender and Ethnic Diversity Report. As a stakeholder, I would like to share what we have been working on for the past 17 months. We have met with the city manager and the human resources staff to request the following. 1, create a uniform city policy for all departments to use relating to hiring, promotion, and evaluation of employees. 2, to assure that the Human Resources Department continues to reach out to the underrepresented groups and as reflected in the 2016 and the 2017 diversity report. And finally, to create a workforce that reflects the city's population based on the U.S. Census. I look forward to read or to hear how the city manager and the council are actively addressing our requests. Eric, I want to thank you again for your support and time on this effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Carolina Flores, then Ray Vanderwerf.
Welcome.
For short people.
They're the ones over there for the shorter people, too.
Eric, I'd like to thank you for offering us Alejandro Cabrera, who has been just instrumental in helping us stay together. The stakeholders have met for 18 months. We've met with you, Howard, and I have been very disappointed with the results. I have personally given you name the people in the Hispanic community, their phone numbers, their organizations, where you can find them, the addresses, and then a year later, this dismal result, it's HR, the dismal result of hiring Latinos is just appalling and unacceptable. I know of a man that is very qualified. He applied as a Latino for an administrator. He didn't even make it past the applicant stage. For the ones that were interviewed, I heard from the HR staff that he didn't make it through the interview because they didn't feel that they could work with him. Seems to me that's illegal. The staff cannot make a decision that they don't like somebody, and so they're not going to go beyond the application stage or the interview stage. There's lots of places that you have left yourself wide open for any kind of legal action. I choose to work with you, but I expect each and every one of you to do something about the Latino hires. Yes, I'm sure you're sorry about the situation. Yes, I'm sure you're embarrassed about the lack of Latino hires, but you know what? We are the majority ethnic group. We are the taxpayers that's providing you money to run this city, and it's time for you to spend that money to help our Latino community get hired. I'm not letting up on it. You guys better put all your ducks in a row. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'll remind speakers to direct their comments to the council as a whole and not specifically to any city official or anyone on the dais. So, ma'am, your time is up. It's time for the next speaker.
I was talking to everyone. I didn't know that I had individually fixed one out.
It's time for the next speaker. Thank you.
The next speaker is Ray Vanderwolf, and then Mac Worthy, then Jennifer Manuel.
If I can get my technology to flip. Good evening. Thank you all for letting me speak. I'm Ray Vanderwerf, and I just want to say as a community member and as well as a member of the Sacramento Women's and Girls Advancement Coalition, I'm very pleased that the audit was done, but I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done. This audit shows some demographics, but I think it also misses many like LGBTQ and people with disabilities, and I think those are things that we need to make sure that are also being looked at because those communities are often overlooked and often multiple groups and get left out in the cold. So I'd like to continue to build that into the process. I would also like to see that we do it on a regular basis. Like I understand we've started doing that, but I think they should make it a rule that we do it at a set time every time to make sure. I saw that there's great growth already. The city manager, I'm not sure what she was, she talked about how everything's changed, and I think that's great, and I hope we continue that. And I hope to continue to get to work with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Next speaker is Mac Worthy, then Jennifer Manuel.
Mr. Worthy and then Miss Manuel. Who's after Miss Manuel?
Then Richard Falcone.
Mr. Falcone.
We can't see what was up on the podium there because I had asked how many, whatever you are, I'm a Negro, how many blacks, how many African Americans live in the city. I need that number. But you got a problem here. I knew when you had to live in the city to work for the city, and husband and wife could not work for the city. I want to know how many people work for this city that lives outside the city. To solve all your problems. Now, to be an engineer, that's qualification. To be a certified accountant, that'd be a qualification. Now, that comes under the same thing as an audit and the treasurer. But to be a city councilman, you can train. To be public works, you can train. Everything in here can be trained. Even the city manager can be trained. You may be required, but when we look back at my folks from 1960 up, what did they study? Sociology, black history, political science. You cannot deal with those numbers. That lady right there should have a team and be paid to hire somebody to teach them. That's what I thought the academy was about. Nothing. Follow the numbers, black folks. We don't care who is hired here by nationality, long as we got our people qualified. Go back to your city council. How did you get 3 black city councils on here? Give me those statistics I want. Now, when Rick's wife was working in the administration, how did you get her in the administration? These are the things that you got to tell. Betty Williams, I told her, go down there and get some black women that's out of the state name in here. We know when the League of California Cities had the office and the guy was recruiting out of the state. You, as it sits now, policy, you can recruit people out of the state into top jobs where decisions are made. We ain't got nobody. Long Ledge, who we got back there? Nobody. Transparency. Bringing out people. I don't have time to listen to garbage. So
Thank you, Mr. Worthy. Next speaker, Mr. Falcone. Oh, sorry. No, you're right.
Jennifer Manuel, then Richard
Ms. Manuel,
Falcone,
then Mr. Falcone. Sorry.
and then Rosanna Herber.
Ms. Herber, you're on deck.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Hansen and council members. My name is Jennifer Manuel. I'm here both as the 2018 chair of the Sacramento Women's Advancement Coalition and as the CEO of VIA Consulting Group, a local business dedicated to inclusive solutions for gender parity and leadership in closing the gender pay gap. As part of the coalition, I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Oseguera's office, and we were pleased to see the city continue to commit itself to following up on the audit conducted back in 2016. Our coalition has submitted a memo containing 6 recommendations for the council's consideration moving forward. As a researcher and solution builder in this space, one of the things I'd like to share for council's consideration is the importance of a methodologically sound set of data on which the city can take action. So this includes at minimum ECAP's compliance with EEOC standards, more accurate definitions of what constitutes management employees at the city to avoid overrepresentation of our data, and breakdowns by race, gender, and their intersection for all future studies. The reason the intersection is so important, we saw earlier tonight Flossie Crump and Felicia Allen, who are here, and we just recognized them tonight. And looking at the intersection of gender and race and reporting on those metrics is of the utmost importance. The best news from where I sit is that there are steps that this city can take now to lay a solid foundation for the diversity and inclusion manager to pick up. And those foundational actions that the city can take will be able to build and especially now establish a timeline for the return of the job classification and compensation RFP, which addresses a lot of the systemic issues. On a night like tonight, when we've had so many inspirational examples of how to move forward in a way that's directionally correct, our coalition stands here with you as a resource and looks forward to seeing what comes next.
Thank you, Ms. Manuel. Will you make sure that we all get a copy of your recommendations?
Absolutely. I'll leave it with the
clerk. Thank you. Mr. Falcone, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to go on record and let you know that I think that there are many ways that we can probably improve the situation that we're trying to address here. We talked about implicit bias earlier. I want to point out that one of the areas of implicit bias is around education. I would have loved to have applied for your diversity cultural manager position. Unfortunately, I don't have a bachelor's degree. Yet, I can come to the table as a police commissioner. I'm part of the Staff Advisory Committee for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion with UC Davis. Yet because of decisions that I've made in my life, it excludes me from certain opportunities that I think I would be well qualified for. Not just as a Latino and a man of color, but as a man who's worked in the community for as long as I have had, and for a man who's worked with so many different facets for as long as I've had. So I think there are ways in just writing position descriptions and qualifications that could open up the door for many, many opportunities for people just like me who might feel that they would like a seat at the table. As many others have done for me, I think you all can make those opportunities available for others by simply taking a look at those position descriptions, and there are simple wordings that can be done to change that might make it possible for somebody like me to apply for that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Falcone. Ms. Herber. After Ms. Herber is Ms. Jenkins, and then Wendell Brown.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Hansen and members of the City Council. My name is Rosanna Herber, and I'm a member of the Women and Girls Advancement Coalition. And you know, first off, I want to say thank you for your public service. Thank you for sitting up there and patiently listening to all of us who come before you and tell you how to do your jobs better. I applaud your public service. I also want to thank the mayor and council members for undertaking this gender and ethnic diversity report. It's not every city that would take a bold look at how they're doing and seriously take steps to improve their hiring and promotion practices in relation to gender and equity. for ethnicity. The good news is that the city is making progress. The not so good news is that the report shows that we really have a long way to go. And here are just a couple of concerns. The city auditor has done a great job of collecting data, but there are problems with the methodology used to collect that data. For example, all the women in the council offices were considered management, although some of them are not in supervisory roles. This shows that the methodology needs to better reflect the classifications for the jobs that are being tracked. This will allow us to be able to see progress in a better manner as you do future reports. We also need to collect information not only on gender and ethnicity, but also on your LGBT people. There are LGBT people who are proud to be serving in the city, and they need to be counted. Along these same lines, we're not getting good information about gender and ethnic diversity on our boards and commissions, and we need to collect that information. We need it to be a priority, and we need to make sure that LGBT people are counted. And I thank you for your dedication, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Ms. Herber. Our next speaker is Ms. Jenkins. Welcome, Ms. Jenkins. After you is Mr. Wendell Brown, and then finally, or after that, Ms. McCune.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're all set?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, City Manager, and council members. My name is Aisha Jenkins. I am an employee of the City of Sacramento, a Senior Accountant Auditor for the Fire Department's Fiscal Division, and I come to you tonight as a representative of the African American Employee Leadership Council. The City of Sacramento African American Employee Leadership Council, also known as AAELC, is a group that was formally organized in September 2016 for the purpose of addressing City of Sacramento's diversity workforce issues. During our initial meetings in April of 2016, we identified a number of challenges and opportunities regarding the issues of fairness, equity, diversity, and inclusion within the city. After discussions with the former Mayor Kevin Johnson and some council members, AAELC recommended a diversity study of the city. The then mayor and council committed to taking action on diversity and inclusion, and Mayor Pro Tem Carr motioned to direct the city auditor to conduct a diversity audit of City of Sacramento employees compared to the demographics of Sacramento residents. 1 year after the findings of the initial study were rendered, AAELC recommended a follow-up study to ascertain what progress has been made, noting that both audits would provide good base data for the diversity manager, whom, when appointed by necessity, would be required to perform a much broader diversity and inclusion audit. AAELC is encouraged that our recommendations have resulted in the progress demonstrated thus far, but concerns that the playing field for African Americans is not a level one. The most recent audit noted in its 2016-2017 ethnic comparison that there was a statistically significant decrease in representation from one ethnic group, Blacks. The recent audit update also noted salary inequities continue to exist, although most of the media's attention has focused on this issue only as it relates to gender equity. AAELC believes that factually, in spite of the existence of equal pay laws for decades, women still earn less than men. We are concerned, however, that this discussion has not fully recognized the fact that issue of wage inequity more significantly impacts minority females in addition to minority males.
Ms. Jenkins, thank you.
A 2016 study by the Pew Research Center noted, we're together.
Okay. Well, usually we don't, but if you insist that she does your work for you,
yeah, some of it,
then we can do that.
A 2016 study by the Pew Research Center noted that when comparing median hourly earnings as a percent of the earnings for white males, that Asian females were 87%, white females 82%, black females 65%, and Hispanic females were at 58% of the earnings of white males, while Asian males were at 117%, but black males 73%, Hispanic males 69% of the earnings of white males. To fully understand and gauge the severity and extent of this issue, a more detailed study should be undertaken. Such a study would focus down on occupational groups and classifications and should consider if factors such as the workplace flexibility, occupational segregation, gender or ethnic bias, discrimination, or other factors play a role in creating this disparity. As a result of our review, AAEOC recommends another layer of data to be uncovered. We recommend that the data covered in the audit also be reviewed annually by ethnicity and gender within each department. The data for Rep Unit 1 and Rep Unit 10 should be reported separately. Combining analysts and other professionals does not allow for a true assessment of diversity in top management ranks. We are also requesting an update on the discussions and development of the policy on treatment of staff, which has not moved anywhere in 18 months. During our meetings with council, we were advised of plans to establish a council policy on this issue. We feel such a policy is crucial in that it would set a standard for how the city expects employees to be treated, how city services will be rendered, and how the city will conduct its business. In closing, I would like to ask for the AAEOC members to please stand. And we would like to thank the council and city manager for your sensitivity and support for city diversity and inclusion. But we also urge you to understand that our African American city employees, the fact remains that many of us are not living our dreams, but because we are living our fears. Thank you.
And the African American Leadership Council is our ethnicity, but the mission of the African American Employee Council, and we want it to be clear so we're not misrepresented, is fair and equitable treatment for all. I'm sure all the groups that spoke tonight, that's their mission, but we want to be crystal clear. Fair and equitable treatment to all.
Thank you,
our
Mr.
mission
Brown.
statement.
And thank you to our employees who are here. You do a phenomenal job for us. We see you and we hear you, and we're going to keep working towards making it better.
Thank you.
Our final three speakers, Ms. McCune, Mr. Alfonso Caro, and Nicolina Hernandez.
Good evening, Council. My name is Mary McCune, and I am the Pipeline Program Director for the FemDems of Sacramento. We represent over 3,600 supporters throughout the Sacramento region. The FemDems would like to commend the city on its work so far to develop a strategic plan to address the diversity and pay equity problems within the city's workforce. We have submitted written public comment earlier today outlining the specific opportunities for growth in the current and future annual reports, such as measuring and promoting the advancement for current city employees. Additionally, the FemDems would respectfully like to propose the creation of a new and additional forum for public engagement on this issue, either by the formation of a commission or a task force or hosted informational hearings. These types of venues would enable community leaders and experts in the city to continue to engage in meaningful dialogue outside the confines of a city council meeting, and would empower members of the community traditionally from traditionally underrepresented communities, not only at the seat at the table, but also a voice in crafting solutions that can boldly place Sacramento on the map as a city with a truly inclusive and equitable workforce model. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and we look forward to collaborating with the city on this issue and offering our support and expertise whenever possible.
Thank you so much, Ms. McCune. Mr. Caro or Curo? Sorry, your handwriting is hard for me. Welcome.
Hi, council members. My name is Alfonso Caro.
Caro.
Is that Arturo?
Sorry.
Okay. I'm the president of the Benito Juarez Association of North Sacramento. We founded this association because of the need to have a voice in our city, schools, and neighborhoods. We have 250 members and meet once a month. I'm aware of the city report on diversity, and I'm here to say that I'm troubled by the numbers in this report. I would hope that by this time next year, this report will look different. Remember, we the Latinos are almost the majority, if not already. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Hernandez, you are the last public commenter on this item.
Good evening, Nicolina Hernandez. I'm a District 6 appointee to the Planning and Design Commission. I'm also on the Mayor Steinberg's working group on Sacramento's future economic growth. As we know, the demographics of Sacramento residents are very diverse. 28% are Hispanic and over 50% are women. I agree that this is a very bold move that the city is undertaking. And I see that the audit does shed light on areas where the city can embrace policies and practices to increase diversity at the city staff level. And I've heard from tonight a lot of great ideas, and also that the city staff is already thinking about that. So I commend everyone who's participated in these discussions. Very much appreciate the mayor, the auditor, staff, and everyone who's participating in this and making it a priority. And I hope that I can work with you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hernandez. All right, we're on to council member questions and comments. Councilwoman Ashby, thank you for leading the charge on this.
Thank you very much. This sort of all started when we did a gender report card, and then, as you heard, then Mayor Pro Tem Carr, and I think joined by Councilmember Jennings and Councilmember Warren, requested a more in-depth look and inclusion of ethnicity in that study. But I'm really proud of the effort that was born from that just first gender report card. You have to start somewhere. And I'm very proud of our city for having this conversation. I've been really, the kind of good thing about being such a rarity, an elected woman, is that you get called all over the country to work on these things. There just aren't very many of us. So I've been all over Florida and DC and Louisiana and you name it, to talk to other women and other jurisdictions about how we're handling this and what to do moving forward. And quite frankly, I've been contacted by the Governing Institute out of Washington, D.C. to talk more about this program that we've put together that has input, by the way, from Councilmember Guerra and Councilmember Carr and Councilmember Hansen, all of us. So we are all bringing these issues to the table. It's not just me. I do push on the gender issue, but there's push on the Latino and the African American and the LGBT piece, and our city manager pushing too, and our auditor. And the call from the Governing Institute was, this looks like a national model. I know we don't like the results in front of us right now, but the fact that we're having the dialogue is a national model in and of itself. That the groups are at the table, that we're having the conversation. It's frustrating to see how much work is ahead of us and how small the gains have been in the first year. But you have to note that the very first stab at this was just a report card out of a council member's office. Now we're starting to put real resources towards this. Now we're starting to see some real movement on behalf of the city. And so that, to me, is where the energy comes from and why I am excited. And I'm really grateful to my ally colleagues here for looking at these issues, particularly allowing us to spend so many resources on gender equity and what that looks like and how it feels, because as several of the speakers said, that's over 50% of our population, and it's just not reflected in these numbers. Before I delve too far into my comments, Mr. Falcone, I received a text right after you spoke. Good news, one of the proposed changes to the diversity and equity management position is to have commensurate experience as opposed to a bachelor's degree. So don't give up on us yet. See what we put out in the next month or so as criteria for that position. I have no doubt that the third time's the charm and we will come up with the right person, although that is a point of equal frustration for us. For me, this audit illustrates modest progress. There are some clear examples of things that are working in there. The fire department's ability to hire more Latinos is a really great example. There are individual hires that have been fantastic. You met one tonight, Susanna Alcala, Chief Hahn, Howard Chan. The city council makes exactly 5 hires. 5. We make 5. We get to choose 5 people. Now the rest of the hires come through those hires, but we set the tone with those 5. Of those 5, 2 are women, 1 Latina. Of those 5, 3 are minorities. Of those 5, only 1 is a white male. So we are trying very hard to set a tone in this department, and I believe that it has worked, because those hires, although they happen slowly at the top, are changing, and that face is changing. Howard Chan's first 3 hires into his office were women, all 3 of them. Lainey, Fran, and Amy, the first 3 hires. There had been no women in the city manager's office since we had our last city manager. So those are big things. Mayor Steinberg's chief of staff is a woman. So that's a really big deal for us. And she's not just any woman, it's Kelly Rivas. She's a go-getter. She's fantastic. She's helped shape this conversation and dialogue. So while those they're modest on a chart, they're just one number on that chart, but they're important people making big changes. Right after we hired Daniel Hahn, he promoted the first African-American female to a sergeant position in the city of Sacramento. Disgusting that it took until 2018 for that to happen. Oh, right, it happened just before the turn of the year, you're right, 17. But exciting that Daniel Hahn spotted talent and promoted her, and she wasn't the only woman promoted in that ceremony. It was a very diverse stage, ethnically and from a gender standpoint, and I'm proud of those hires because of the eyes that they bring to the discussion. If you look at the most recent hires, so Jorge did a really brilliant thing, I think, of creating legacy hires, which is basically pre-2016, and then looking at our trends post-2016, it's a vast improvement. It's a really huge improvement. It goes from being 58% white to 33% white in the new hires. That's a pretty good trend if you look at it from that perspective, and one I think we can be proud of. When we look at gender specifically, it is incredibly disturbing to think of a $20,000 gap. When you talk about the positions, for example, me, I'm the only female, but Alan and I make you know what, I picked the exact wrong council member. Alan doesn't take a salary, but I make the exact same amount as every other member up here because it's already stated. It's clear this is what a council member makes. But in other positions, it's a range. So when we hire, for example, the city attorney, we have a choice. Where do we put her in that range? And this is where the disparity starts to come in, and this is where we start to see bias. We also see people out of position sometimes. We sometimes see people in our city staff doing one task, but categorized in one position that is really beneath where their duties lie. And so that's something we have to work on in HR. And those things all are about bias. There is a chart in Jorge's presentation. There are actually a couple of them. One is figure 26. You don't need to put it up. I'll just describe it. It's fine. It's getting late. But when you look at it, there's one that's for all employees and there's one that's for management employees. But either way, when you look at it, at the lowest levels, women are equal. In some instances, even better. Like we hire more women than we hire men. But in the lowest pay categories. And as you go up the chart, gaining responsibility, management roles, supervisorial roles, and pay, the number just goes back and back and back and back until it's almost none. So there's like almost no women in that top line of the top management for the city of Sacramento. And that is really disturbing because we're hiring at an equal rate, but they're not promoting. And then you want to know why. So that's, to me, what this audit is about and where the meat and potatoes in this conversation lies. And then I just want to say something that, for me, this dialogue around salary disparity for gender is really important. But it's also incredibly important, and I love this about Jorge, too, because he helped me with this over the last year and a half. There has been a lot of pressure to just look at gender and then just look at ethnicity. We cannot do that. That would be a complete failure. Because the intersectionality of this is the real systemic issue that we have to get to. That's where gender meets race. And it creates for some people, women of color, multiple barriers that they have to get over. And when you do both, if you look only at people of color, the women get marginalized again. If you look only at women, the women of color get marginalized again. So you have to look at that intersection. And in that intersection, you find that these women are not getting past the hurdles, the bias hurdles. They're performing the worst in all of the categories in terms of getting promoted and being paid on par. And that is where we really need to focus our efforts. And it's why I'm so stubborn about keeping these issues separate so that one doesn't get overlooked for the other. Tonight, I think there are 4 actions that need to be taken. And let me just also say, the groups that have brought forward recommendations, I've seen some of them in advance of today, some of them I've seen in the last maybe like 45 minutes as I've been sitting here. I'm sure there there are a lot of great ideas in there. But for me, coming into tonight, these are the 4 things I would like to see the city focus on. And then we need really a long-term plan. First of all, Lainey, you noted to us that Human Resources is now compliant with all federal documentation requirements. To me, that was the most embarrassing part of this audit. It's bad that we don't have people hired at the right levels. It's really bad that we're not tracking it. But thank goodness we did the audit so we could figure out that we were out of compliance so that we could fix that. And I love that you said to us, it will never happen again. I'm going to take you at your word on that, but that's item number 1 for me on actions. The second, and this is really frustrating, that we do not have this diversity and equity manager. From my very first gender report card, this was the recommendation, to hire a diversity and equity manager to help us with this dialogue, to coordinate the efforts of the people in the audience who are frustrated because they've been talking to us individually. That gets siloed really quickly. You know, you're talking only to the city manager, you're talking only to one council member, and then it's a siloed effect. We're trying to avoid that. That's why we need a diversity and equity manager, because the diversity and equity manager will work with all of us on all of these issues and will work with HR and every single department. So I'm incredibly frustrated that we're on round 3 of trying to find that candidate. And the community has done their part. So that needs to happen, and it needs to be expeditious, right? That's item 2. Item 3 for me and 4 kind of go together, and this is about the bias training. We need to extend the bias training to include department directors, division managers, and supervisors. I know we've done the top levels, but anybody who hires or promotes or has the fate of employees in their hands in terms of pay increases or advances in the workplace needs to go through bias training. Anybody who gets to be a part of that decision-making needs to go through bias training. But even more important than that, we need an internal review of all of our policies and procedures relative to how we do promotions and how advancements happen to look at bias. This is where groups like the McKinsey studies come in and they get involved. And they look at our hiring practices and policies and procedures department by department, and they identify bias. Here's what we learned from Rylan Ramos today. It's not intentional. It's not on purpose. It's unintentional bias. It's implicit bias. That's the point. It's a bias that exists in a test that we're not addressing, and therefore people are failing. I always like to use this example because it's not something people think of. My husband is a nurse. When he was going through the nursing program, there was a section he failed. All of the men failed it. All of the men in the program trying to learn to be nurses failed this. It was about your emotional response to patients. And one of the questions was, is it okay to cry with the family if somebody dies? My husband and all of the men said no, because they thought to be professional, you should be stoic and you should help them. All of the women said, of course, yes, if you're sad, we would console them, we would sit down and cry. And all of the women got it right. The test is written by women. So the answer is very gender biased towards women. They worked with the men, they talked to them about it. After they got additional help and training, they all passed that section. So you know that if that exists in a nursing program, it exists in police and fire and parks and utilities and public works and transportation and everywhere else where somebody is making a test, because it's not intentional. It's just how it's written. So we must do this bias training. We have got to bring people in that come and show us our blind spots and help us get better at this, because that's the real solution for getting these guys where they need to be. I have a long list of thank yous, but I'll skip it because you guys know who you are. You've done a really wonderful job of keeping us honest on this. And then my just last statement here, besides I'll make a motion to accept the the audit, and move it forward, or I guess just accept it. We're not really making any recommendations that haven't already been addressed. But this is just sort of my soapbox statement. This is why I hate taking public comment before substantive items, because it was 7:30 before these guys got to speak. And their item is on agenda for decision tonight. Items that are not on for a decision, we can't even engage. We are precluded from engaging with them. So it's frustrating to me that dozens of people sat here and dozens more were here before and wanted to stay for this but didn't, because of the hour of the night and how late they would have to stay through comments. I really believe substantive items where decisions are being made, that those public commenters deserve our attention and our fresh ears and eyes on a night, not our tired selves that are ready to go home. So it's my soapbox item. I move the item, Vice Mayor.
We have a motion from Councilmember Ashby, a second from Councilmember Guerra. And Member Ashby, I just wanted to let you know the clerk told me the council rules would be coming back in March, so we'll be able to talk about that issue. Thanks. Mr. Carr.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have sort of a different take on this whole issue and how we should address it. And I've addressed it some with the African American Leadership Council. But you shouldn't take that as there's animosity here amongst the council members. If everyone is thinking alike, then somebody's not thinking. So we can have disagreements, and on this issue, I have strong disagreements on how we approach the issue. I agree with Ms. Cabayas that a result should be stated, but I don't think it's the city manager's job to state the result that we're looking for, the outcome that we're looking for. That's the city council's responsibility, and we haven't done that. The African American Leadership Committee has been very patient as we've tried to work through this process, but it is a process, and things just don't happen overnight. It's hard to make it happen overnight, and but we're very close to being able to bring an outcome-oriented policy to the council for consideration. In fact, it's going to be the main subject at our ad hoc committee on Friday. And if we can get it out of the ad hoc committee, we'll be bringing it to city council. But there's some work that has to be done too. As someone mentioned, we have to go back now when we agree on the policy to see what else the city has said since 1846. Because we don't know what policies we're going to be in congruence with, and we don't know what policies we're going to be superseding. So we got to identify that. It's all a process in the city. Rosanna, I appreciate your comments because you were at SMUD when we adopted our policy, and you knew that this stuff did not happen overnight. The problem was not created overnight, and it's not going to be solved overnight. We were fortunate at SMUD because we had a bunch of baby boomers who were retiring. And as they retired, because so many of them were retiring, we could diversify the workforce rather rapidly. That may or may not be the case here at the council. What we're looking for is a glide path. Are we on a glide path to get where we want to go? And what has been demonstrated tonight is that progress has been made. What's missing is to what end? What is the outcome that we're looking for? And that's what we have to decide as a council. I was the equal opportunity officer in the United States Army in 1969. My job was to enforce equal opportunity, and it didn't work. It didn't work because everyone in the organization, when they saw me coming, they would say, oh, here comes the equal opportunity guy. And I was responsible for equal opportunity. When the Army moved to this is a command responsibility, and supervisors are responsible for enforcing the equal opportunity program at every level, that's when we started to see change. And that's what a policy here would dictate. When we tell our city manager, this is the outcome we're looking for, and we're going to hold you accountable for delivering that outcome, then he must hold his department heads accountable. And they must hold their supervisors accountable. And that will make the change, those people who are making the hiring decisions. So I sort of disagree with the approach of getting in and telling the city manager how to do it. As George Patton said, never tell a person how to do something. Tell them what you want them to achieve, and you will be surprised by their ingenuity. So I'm not about to start telling people how to do it. Hire a diversity manager, get bias training, make sure you have internal this and internal that. Because I've been on the other side of that equation, and I have beat them When they told me specifically what to do, I did exactly what they said. But they didn't get the result that they were looking for. They were so busy monitoring whether or not I had dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. I'm not falling into that trap. I'm never telling a person how to do something. I'm telling them, as a governor of this organization, the outcome that I'm looking for, the result that I want to see achieved, and then, as someone said, make sure we look at that on a routine basis. But when we hold a city manager and the city manager holds his department heads and so on down the line, this is what you are getting graded on. This is what you're getting promoted on. This is what you're getting raises on. You will see change, and we don't have to dictate how to do it. So hopefully we can get our policy before the council. Hopefully the policy that you saw will be the one that's adopted, and then we can go about making sure that all levels within the organization is held accountable to the things that the council wants to do. We will have a line, the council all the way down to the lowest hiring authority in the city, in one straight alignment. They will know what's expected, and they know that they will be evaluated on that expectation. So that's what we're trying to do with the policies. I think we're moving forward on that. The first step was to establish ground truth. Where are we? And we've done that. And we've seen some progress. The second step is to create a policy that dictates the outcomes that we're looking for, because the outcome that we're looking for is different from ground truth. And then the third step is to monitor to make sure that it happens. We can no longer adopt policies and throw them in a file somewhere and never look at them. We have to develop a schedule that we are looking at these things on a routine basis. And by the way, that schedule should match our own anxiety about that issue. So if we are highly anxious about it, we monitor it more frequently. If we're not so anxious about it, we monitor it less frequency. And some things probably don't change much at all, like the mission of the city and things like that. But some things will change, and we'll want to see them on a routine basis, Rosanna, just like we monitor contracts on a routine basis every quarter, because we didn't want to get into trouble with contracting. So we had to pay attention to it. And what we found out in all of this experience is that as the top of the organization, what we look at happens. What we fail to look at may or may not happen. And any supervisor knows that. What the supervisor looks at will happen. And this is an issue that we have to keep constantly looking at. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Mr. Guerra?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. First I had some questions here, and from a couple things. And so Caroline Cabillas, if you don't mind coming up, I just had a couple questions here, just because it intrigued me on some of your comments. One, I think you had mentioned to engage an outside HR expertise, and generally I'm kind of I'm usually adverse to looking for more contracting out services, but what is the benefit of looking at outside of HR expertise if we have some of it in the area? Or, I mean, can you elaborate a little more on that piece?
And I'm going to share this with you from the perspective of spending many years in state government as an executive and looking at management problems, which is what you have in your hands today with your HR program. And the reason you need a diversity manager is because your HR program isn't working. If it was, you wouldn't need a diversity manager when you think about it in the big picture. So in a lot of instances, when state agencies had a problem, there was a fix needed for this, that, or that, whether it was HR or finance or something in a programmatic way. It was a temporary thing that needed to happen so that the program could get on with its business. And so in a lot of instances, we'd reach out to contractors, or in the case of, I mentioned as an example, Cooperative Personnel Services is a quasi-governmental agency that was a spin-off of the California state government's HR department, State Department. And they would basically contract out their services because they had people in different disciplines. HR was the prominent discipline, and so when a department needed an HR fix, and actually they broadened out to local governments, other public jurisdictions that need help, whether it's the city of Santa Clara, the city of San Jose, San Francisco, and actually it's they have offices beyond just California now. They're a national organization. But what they do is they have that interim set of expert HR expertise that can come in at the management level, whether it's to look at the organization and figure out what your problems are and come up with recommendations, or actually come in and put people in place. And the reason I mention that as an example is I've watched the HR shop since August of 2016, a year and a half, and all they've done is churned. You had hired someone, that person left, you made somebody be an acting person for that, which meant that what they were supposed to do wasn't getting done in total, if at all. So that's what's been happening in your HR shop as I've watched it for the last, as I said, year and a half. So one of the reasons I made that suggestion is that instead of continuing with acting assignments and taking people who should be working on policy, who should be working on procedures, who should be out recruiting, and you've heard it from a lot of people, all these things are being touched on, but they're all being touched on, and that's all they're being done. They're really not making significant progress. So the reason I suggested that is if you brought someone with HR expertise on, and I think a couple of other people said this, you bring someone on to keep the management piece working, going forward, so that Howard has some expertise to drive that on a day-to-day basis, while the other staff are working on some of the procedures that need to be done. Instead of taking your working people and moving them up, so that nothing is really getting done in total, pieces and parts are getting done. So CPS is, as I said, a quasi-governmental agency. When state agencies use their services, Cooperative Personnel Services.
That's my second thing I was going to ask. What was that?
Pardon?
Cooperative Personnel Services.
Cooperative Personnel Services. Their headquarters is here in Sacramento, and as I said, they're a quasi-governmental jurisdiction. So when state agencies use their services, they don't have to go contract out and get 3 bids.
Oh, very good.
That kind of thing. So there's a resource, as a creative resource to working on a management problem.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Cabayas. And first, before you step down, I just want to personally thank you for all the time. I know it's been a year and a half, and you've committed to this, and a lot of the other folks who've been out here has spent a lot of time in that, and also in your participation in the recruitment and the panel conversations for the Diversity and Equity Manager. So I do appreciate all the work you've done. And Mr. City Manager, I do want to thank you also on that effort. When I first heard that we had not hired a Diversity and Equity Manager, I was pretty frustrated. And but when I heard that it came at the recommendation from Ms. Cabayas and Mrs. Herber, who were involved in the selection panel, and they said, we need the top quality candidate, that gave me a lot of comfort, because it meant that we were not rushing the job to just fill the position, but actually looking for the highest quality person. And the fact that it came from our community participants on the panel shows that the community is engaged in this piece and that they are truly invested in this. So I do appreciate you not rushing to fill that position, but we do need to move forward and get that position filled in with the right quality. So we should evaluate what we need to attract that right candidate. I know I saw some of our staff members from our Black Staff Association leave right now, but I think what they said was, all we want is equity. All we want is the same opportunity. And how fitting it was that we also had the Benito Juarez Association here today, who are a neighborhood association in Councilmember Harris's district, because anybody who knows Benito Juarez is known for his strong quote of "El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz." And anybody who knows Benito Juarez, and if you translate that, it means the respect to one another is peace, that fundamental guiding principle, that respecting each other's quality. And that's what we're trying to get at here in this audit report, is trying to bring that up to par. If I could ask the city manager, the city auditor, to please put up slide, I believe it was, or figure number 19. And actually, I'll do figure 6 first, if I look it up here. And, you know, when we first saw this a while back ago, when we started pulling this, it shocked me. You know, I was surprised to see in this particular graph here that a city like Sacramento has this kind of disparity amongst our community, particularly when we had the history of a mayor like Joe Cerna and council members like Deborah Ortiz and Councilmember Farias, who had this. So when I saw this, I was perplexed and very disturbed. But if we go to figure 19, it wasn't surprising after seeing figure 19. And figure 19, you could see how even deeper the red is on this figure, and it shows that our management is completely lacking in that representation of our city. So it's no surprise today that we see many of the folks in the Latino and Hispanic community here today talking about the issues in our city employment and staff, because if you were to look at these two graphs, you'd say, hey, we're missing an entire area. And the bigger point, I think, that in a year and a half ago when Ms. Manchac and Ms. Caballas and Mr. Aguilera came here, that they brought up was, if you look deeper in these details, you'll probably find that it's not just ethnicity, but women of color who are the worst impacted. And as our city auditor has put out, and the information has come up, the fact is true. And so that is something that I think, you know, it does enrage me that I see numbers like that. It does bother me to see that we've had this happening. And we may have known about it. We may have wanted to not think about it, but now we know about it. So I think what we're hearing today, Mr. City Manager, and you've heard it from multiple different folks, was that we do need to have a strong plan. We do need to have some kind of benchmark or some method to make sure that in 10 years from now, when this council has said, I think Mr. Carr is right, this council has said, we want our city staff to look like our city, that we're not here 10 years from now talking about this same issue, that we're actually seeing some differences, which means diversity, and I saw in some of these recommendations, diversity in our hiring panels. I think the issue of making sure that we are training our supervisorial staff and looking at recruitment, because if you also look at our promotional methods, Councilmember Jennings has been a staunch advocate about helping our city staff recruit and move up. And if you look at the lower level, entry-level staff positions, our diversity is actually, from the report, a little better. So we can actually make those impacts in this management graph that we have in figure 19 by helping our staff recruit and move up the ranks. So I think that's an important piece that's been brought up here. Also the examination processes. I think that looking at our exams and making sure that we're not creating any unnecessary hurdles and burdens. Councilmember Carr has brought this up before, the whole check the box movement to making sure that we aren't excluding our folks. The end of the day, our city deserves the best and brightest city employees that are going to help us achieve our goals. And I think that when we see a disparity in numbers like this, something's happening where we're missing out on a population. There could be bias in recruitment. There could be the also issue that there is an interest in going to work elsewhere. So we should ask the question, is our city an attractive place to work? Are we recruiting and wanting to attract people here as well? I mean, we should look at our personnel issues and figuring out, you know, what are we doing to attract that future talent, that strong talent, and some of those young families. I know myself now that, you know, I'm a new dad, and then we also have an expecting member of District 6 coming as well in the future here, that, you know, if we look at our family leave and maternity and paternity leave, it is not attractive here for our city. So why would a young family want to look at coming to work at the city of Sacramento and get that most competitive person if our parental leave policy doesn't provide that. And I would suggest to the city manager that we look at our parental leave policy to say, hey, let's like some other agencies, let's look at the 160-day employment requirement to be eligible for that. And let's attract those folks that want to work and be here because they think that this is the right move for their family. So I think that's one thing that we should also consider as far as what are we doing to be the most attractive city. Let's make sure that we're putting those pieces together. Lastly, I'll just say that, when I first looked at the report again, it was very frustrating. But I do want to thank our city auditor and your staff. You guys have done an exceptional amount of work of not just first highlighting the problem, but going deeper and helping us understand where areas of improvement are and what successes we have seen so that we can also replicate and build on that success. With that, Mr. Vice Mayor, I'm glad to second this issue. I'm glad to be moving forward. I want to thank all our community participants that were out here. But in 10 years, I hope that we don't see any of this red anymore on these charts.
Thank you. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well, that's a tough act to follow. Jorge, I would like to thank you also, because you can't fix problems if you don't know where you are, and now we know where we are. We've put it in the spotlight, and you've taken the data and sliced it and diced it and presented it in numerous ways so that we can understand the problems, and now we can get to where Councilmember Carr always counsels us to get to. What are we trying to achieve? We have a lot of data here to work with. I tend to agree with Councilmember Ashby that inherent bias is a distinct problem. So we have a toolkit, and we've got a lot of data to work from. We know what problems we want to solve, and we can get there, but we have to set a goal. I like Larry's analogy about a glide path, probably because I'm a pilot, but if we're looking for a place to land, we've got to choose a glide path. We have to use this data to decide where we want to get to. And that's an important piece that this council has to get to. That being said, we have made progress, and we're looking at this, which is a lot better than the status quo of many, many years. So we've taken a good, hard self-examination, an inward look, and we need to set our goal and decide where we want to land.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, for your brevity.
You're welcome.
Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I just had one question, and it was related. It is related to the application review process, and I'm not certain if our city auditor could speak to that, or if maybe our city manager could speak to our application review process. I heard several people talk about, during this process, people kind of get screened out and never really make it to a point where they could be interviewed for a particular job. And so if we have some information on how that process takes place, I'd like to hear it.
Unfortunately, included in this report, we did not look at that aspect of our hiring process. Okay. But if that is something that is of interest to the council, that is something that, we could incorporate into a future analysis if that's of interest.
Well, it's definitely of interest to me. I hope it's of interest to the council as well. And so I think that, because the hiring person makes a decision based on a certain criteria, and I believe that the hiring panel or the review process panel does as well, and I would at least like to know how that works.
Sure.
So. Thank you.
Thank you.
That'll do it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Warren. Councilmember Schneer.
Thanks, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'm going to be relatively brief, not so much because the hour is late, but because my colleagues have said most of what needs to be said. But just a couple of items for me. One is I want to thank, I know our staff's done a great job. It's been a tremendous amount of work. And Jorge, I know you guys have taken it to kind of the second and third levels on the data mining, and I think that's really important. And as Mr. Harris said, if we don't know where we are, we don't know where we're going. So it's really important to follow the data on this and be really be really smart about what the data looks like and how we use it and how we measure it going forward. And more importantly to me, I want to thank a lot of members of the public who've come forward. I think public accountability is the strongest accountability that there is, and I've always believed that. And I have no doubt that you all will keep the pressure on us as we go forward, because we work for you, and this is where we are today. I think that there's a couple things that we need to really focus on. One is obviously, and I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said, but very concisely, we need to make sure that our own infrastructure works. So that is at all levels. Do we have the leadership under Howard to make it go forward? That's the Human Resources Department, getting a good leader there, getting the diversity manager on board. And I know the frustrations that you've gone through in that hiring process, and we do need to make sure that we have, this is so important, we need to make sure we have the right person and can't settle for anything less. And unfortunately, it's taken longer than any of us would like, but again, we need to find the right person. Getting the right HR director is equally as important, and I know those interviews are at hand, so we're looking forward to that as well. To me, the goals actually of this, and I agree with Larry on setting them, but I think they're fairly straightforward. One is our employee force needs to look like the city, and that has to be in all categories of management from top to bottom and kind of across the way. So those are, to me, that's the goal that we set, and that there is equal pay by gender. I think if we can set those two things and say this is where we need to go, we know that data kind of travels in herds. So if we can hit those marks and be continually moving towards those marks, I think that we'll be in good shape. The other thing that to me is really important
Excuse
is...
me, Jay,
yeah.
you said two things. I heard employees must match the city.
They need to be reflective of the city, and it needs to be equal pay between genders. Those are the two basic pieces for me. The other thing that's really important and is, well, I want to go back for a second. We know it's going to take some time. Jorge, I really appreciate the distinction, and I think Angelique brought this up, between legacy employees and newer employees. We need to look at what we're doing today to make sure we're on the right path. We can then prorate it out and see how long it's going to take us to get to where we need to go. But, we're not turning the city's workforce over in a year, so you're not going to see dramatic, but you have to see every year moving in the right direction. That's your glide path, I know. Again, the last thing that is very important to me is how do we grow our own? We need to really be working with our K-12 institutions and our community colleges and Sac State Go Stingers, and UC Davis to make sure that we are growing the workforce that we need that is coming from Sacramento. So to me, that's a long-term piece of infrastructure, and we can't really wait on that, on those types of partnerships, because every year that we wait is another year that we won't have those who we need. So to me, we have great higher ed institutions in the city, and we really need to cement those partnerships so that we continue, and this was brought up before, that at the hiring level, we're not doing poorly as far as a lot of the categories that we have, but that we can continue to do that, but that we have really well-educated workforce. We know in the economic development field, and I know this came out when we were doing the prosperity work with Brookings, if we don't have good workforce development, we don't have a good economy. It's that simple. And that workforce development needs to be folks from Sacramento, again, that reflect the diversity of our wonderful city. So thank you very much.
Mr. Carr, back to you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just a couple of things. First of all, Jay, those two elements are included in the policy that we intend to bring forward. But there's never going to be a perfect match between our workforce and the city. That is almost impossible to make that happen. But there's no way I could bring a policy forward that didn't address gender equity. council member from District 1 would be all over us if we did. But that is in the policy. Plus some other things like promotions and disciplinary actions that we also would want to look at. I don't want to give the impression that I'm against consultants because I think they're very useful, but the city manager needs to hire them to help him develop his process. If we need a consultant, it's to help us figure out what the policy is. I'm not sure how we operate here, Mr. Vice Mayor. I heard someone direct a request of the auditor, and if there is no one that speaks up, then that's viewed as consent. I'm not really interested in looking at how interview panels are formulated. What I'm interested in is the result that we dictate. And I'm not going to get buried in the weeds of those things. I just want the result. And if he has to reconfigure the interview panels, if he has to get a consultant, I'm talking about you, Howard, whatever you have to do to make that happen, that's on you. But when we get the report back, we want to see that we are going where we want to go. And I don't see a lot of people here from the AALC, but again, this is going to take a second. We can't fire people to hire other people. So it's going to be, our demographics are going to move at the rate of attrition, the natural rate of attrition in the city. And not every person that we hire is going to be a minority. White people will continue to get hired. They will be the best person for the job and they'll continue to get hired. But we will make an effort to get on the glide path where we are more representative of the city and that our workforce looks like the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Our final, thank you for clarifying. Our final council commenter, Mr. Jennings, and I'll give some final comments.
So I'll try to be quick as well. I just want to thank all the groups who came out today and the plans of actions and the comments and the thoughts that you gave us as far as the things that we could do better. And I'm just very thankful. You are engaged and you are involved and you're helping us as we move forward in this very, very important area. And I think the first thing I heard was no plan, little progress, and after 18 months. And I've been sitting here saying that I'm concerned that the employees who work here every single day, they're the ones that see no plan, little progress in 18 months since the audit was done. So what I don't want to see is I don't want to see them get disillusioned along the way. I want to value their opinion. And I know the city manager has been meeting with groups, and some groups are more organized than others. And I think we can do a better job of having all groups organized so that their voice can be heard, their voice can be valued, and their voice can be at the table. Okay? And then you can also hear about some of the policy areas that Member Guerra talked about as far as the leave policy. You know, you may hear other things that are out there that maybe have not come to the table that will allow more employees to want to come into the organization, grow within the organization, and take on additional responsibility. But I just want to make sure that we're listening to our employees. I think they're a very valuable resource, and I think they have gotten frustrated. I know I've worked specifically with the AAELC, and I know their level of frustration. And I think, you know, they've endured for a long time where there's been little intake, there's been little promotion, there has not necessarily been pay equity, and there hasn't been opportunity to move up into high-level management. Now, some of that's been changing along the way here recently, but it hasn't changed at the level that they've wanted it to change over the time period that they've endured. And that's just one group. And so we could probably say that about our Hispanic group and other groups as well. And so I just want to make sure as we go through this whole process, we show our employees that we value them, that we appreciate them, we're listening to them, and we want to move forward with them at the table, equally as well as our partners being at the table as well. I do want to create a sense of urgency among all of us. We didn't get into this problem overnight, and I know we won't solve it overnight, but we should have a sense of urgency for our diversity manager, which we've all talked about already, for our ability to communicate to our employees, as I mentioned, for our bias training, for our plan of action. whatever that is, that plan of action that we're talking about, and all the other things that we've been speaking of today. And it has to be a strong plan of action. And so I know the city manager, I know you've heard all the comments from all of us tonight, but that sense of urgency, we have to move at a faster pace because we are behind. And I believe strongly that he or she who's behind in the great race of life must run faster or forever remain behind. And I think we are behind. And I think when we're behind like this, it disillusions our employees, and they then find other places to go, and that just puts us further and further behind. And so I have a sense of urgency that says we should look at this on a more frequent basis. We should have more involvement from our community to get involved and engaged in this. We should make sure that we as a board, a council, are looking at this on a more frequent basis, whether that be quarterly or whether that be monthly, whatever the case may be. But we need to inspect what we expect and never leave this from the front, because this is one of our strongest priorities, in my opinion, that the workforce must look like the public that we serve. And so with that, I've given you my thoughts and feelings on this. I've got 8 pages of notes up here from listening to each and every one of you, and I thank you for your input and your thoughts. But this is very important. As a council member and as a resident of the city of Sacramento, we must make sure that we move at a faster pace than we've been moving in the past.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Emeritus Rick Jennings. I just wanted to close out. I know everybody's been really patient. If I were the mayor, I'd give you all a key to the city, even though you don't need it to open the door, because you've been so good tonight. I just want to say a few things first. I want to thank Council Member Ashby again for sort of leading the charge on this and using the data. I was here when the McKinsey report got published, and this room was full of women and younger, older, of every background, to really demonstrate the power of the community in helping to lead us through this change. And I think all the council members did that. And it's that whole idea, there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come. And whether it's the stuff that we talked about related to gender or ethnic diversity, I think it all fits in there. The one gap, and the only person to really talk about it, I appreciate Councilmember Ashby raising it, was the LGBT community. And Mr. City Auditor, you have one page hanging out there all by itself about data, but you don't ever tell us anything about our workforce. As far as I can tell in your data, there may be some city employees who are LGBT, but for instance, when it comes to gender, we force people to choose a box, male or female, and largely the world has allowed for more variation than that. And as far as I can tell, we have 0 transgender employees in our city. I don't know if that's true. I would hope that that's not true. But I also know we have some really phenomenal LGBT employees in the police department, in our city staff, in our parks department. But we don't capture them. And there's nothing, I'll tell you this very honestly, there's nothing as painful as looking into a mirror and not seeing yourself in it. And when we look at these issues of diversity and the LGBT community is cut out, it's really harmful. It's harmful to our employees. It's harmful to our citizens' view of their opportunity. And I don't think we can continue. I've raised it several times. I know Council Member Ashby has. And I appreciate that you brought in some data. But this is not a 3-dimensional look at our city. This is 2 dimensions right now, race and male and female equity, which is important. And I will never diminish the importance of that. But I think we have to get beyond, so that we're looking at our workforce, our city, and our opportunity with all the dimensions and beauty of life. So I hope that we can do that. One of the things we're constantly hit on when we do the Municipal Equality Index is we don't have a LGBT city employee group. A council member is not allowed to lead that for labor reasons. So one of the things, Mr. City Manager, I've raised before, nothing's really ever happened, but I'd like to find a way through HR to create an LGBT employee group. We have one for the API community, we have one for Latinos, we have an African-American one, women, but we do not have one for our LGBT employees to feel some commonality and some unity, and I think that would help a lot. I noticed you stood up, Mr. City Auditor. Were you hoping to interject something?
I just
before
wanted to say that I completely agree with what you said. Obviously, that would be something that we would have loved to have looked into. But as you probably already have anticipated, we have a tremendous data limitation when it comes to analyzing that kind of information for our city employees. I think something to definitely take into consideration is how do we go about gathering that information for our city employees going forward, and if it has to be on a volunteer basis, then we should make an effort to try to capture that so that we can incorporate it into these types of efforts and start gathering that type of baseline information as well.
And I didn't want to belabor this point, but I did at one of these previous discussions talk about ensuring that our applications allow people to self-identify, that that's not just for employees, that's for people who are appointed to various positions on commissions and other public committees. I think just making the effort it's certainly something that when the audit came up before I asked for. I was not wanting us to jump the line to get in front of the basic gender issue or the basic diversity issues that we're trying to address, but I think that we can't continue to not adequately cover it, and this is really a comment to the city manager, our assistant city manager, our future or soon-to-be HR director and diversity equity manager. We have to cover that, and I don't know any other way to say it, but I appreciate your thoughts, and I'll work with the city manager and our staff to ensure that the LGBT community is no longer sort of playing in the background here. Thank you. With that, we have no other comments. We have a motion. We have a second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Item passes unanimously. Thank you.
Good job, board.
We're on to council comments, ideas, and appointments. Madam Clerk, do you have any appointments? Council members? Councilmember Chenier.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. A few announcements and a couple of requests for the city manager. Sorry. One is I'll be doing office hours this Thursday, February 15th at Bell Coolidge Library from 5:30 to 7 p.m. The Oak Park Peace Walk this month and Friday night at 5 p.m. will start at City Church. That's on 4th Avenue between 38th and 39th. Also want to note the Active Transportation Commission applications close this Friday, so if people are interested in applying, please do. And then also wanted to mention that the Crocker Art Museum is celebrating Black History Month. There's a free family festival on February 18th. This celebration features live music, performances, and the unveiling of 2 exhibitions featuring prominent African-American artists. 2 things, Mr. City Manager. One is for the impact team and the folks who are working on the homeless issue. I'd like to see if we can get some priority on safe routes to schools. I've had a lot of calls recently where we've had homeless encampments and tents on very busy routes to schools for our very youngest people. Ethel Phillips Elementary is one, off Franklin and 21st, and there are some others we could talk about it. So I just think as we prioritize those, we need to think of how our kids are doing that. The second thing is when we, and Mr. Hansen and I have had a horrific accident, as you know, on Freeport Boulevard. One of the things that we'd like to look at is how our utilities department does outreach when we change things. Public Works, rather, thank you. When we change things. So if we're removing a crosswalk or adding some things, how do we notify people and for what period of time that this is going to happen? We've had a lot of discussion on that. And then finally, I just want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day.
We love you too, Councilmember.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Mr. Guerra.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Mayor. Wanted to again put on people's calendar Wednesday, February 21st at the Fruit Ridge Community Collaborative. The City of Sacramento is going to have a discussion on Project Prosper with our city manager, our mayor, and Councilmember Chenier. We share that Stockton Boulevard area. And speaking of Stockton Boulevard, Again, the Happy New Year to all those out there. The Little Saigon Lunar Festival and the Tet Festival is happening on Saturday, February 17th, February 18th, and February 24th and the 25th. And join on all the celebrations at Happy Gardens and Asian Pearl and everywhere where we're celebrating the new year. You're the dog. Thank you.
Gung Hao Fat Choi, something like that. Last but not least, okay. I was going to say last but not least to Mr. Jennings, but Councilmember Chenier popped back up. Mr. Jennings.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. On Thursday the 15th, District 7 will be having office hours in the Robbie Waters Library, located in Pocket Greenhaven, and we encourage you to come out. It's sometimes hard to come down here to City Hall, but we want to make it easy by having you come to the library, enjoy the library, and also come to City Hall right in your neighborhood. Also on Wednesday the 14th, in addition to saying Happy Valentine's Day to everyone, we want you to join the South Sacramento Youth Advisory Committee, as this group of young people will provide input to Councilmember Carr and myself on the important issues to them and their communities. And it's a place where youth can really make a difference in their community and have fun in the process of doing so. That'll take place from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Sam and Bonnie Pennell Community Center located on Meadowview Road. And then in case you didn't know, this week, the 9th through the 16th, is the Random Act of Kindness Week. Did you know that?
Thank you.
See there? And so we want to get our students and community ready for the April's Art of Kindness Showcase that's going to take place at the Sac City Unified School District, and I'm encouraging everyone this week to take an opportunity for a random act of kindness. So for more information about this, in case you need a lot more information, contact the website of www.scusd.edu/art-kindness. Okay? And then the final thing is Councilmember Chenier mentioned the Black History Month activity that's going to take place at the Crocker Museum. And I just want to add on that the museum will be open and free for everyone from 10 to 5 p.m. So in addition to the Black History program from 12 to 4 with the Grant Drumline and the Celebration Arts performances and Milton Bowens and Jacob Lawrence art exhibits and all that other kind of stuff, the museum will be open for everyone free.
Councilmember Chenier.
Great, thanks. I just wanted to note, we did our annual Community Leaders Evening last Wednesday night. We had about 60 community leaders from our 20 neighborhoods that we represent, and I just wanted to thank all of the staff. We had 21 city staff who came out, gave up an evening of their own, and we also used a very different format. If anybody's interested, I'm happy to talk about it, but it was incredibly successful. I think people really got a lot out of it, so I'm happy to talk about it. And I just, again, want to thank all the staff who showed up to help.
With that, we're adjourned. Thank you all.